A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Yes, it's the Goldbergs.
Hey, Mr. Fleming, you busy?
Well, hello, young fellow. What's in your mind?
I need your advice. You know, I'm thinking about going into business.
Oh?
And I've decided to be a radio announcer.
What?
Yeah, just like you when you tell the ladies about Doug.
Oh, so you've heard me talk about Doug, huh?
Sure, lots of times. And I figured if you could do it, I could.
Oh, you did you? Well, now, so let's just hear how you tell the ladies about this new kind of granulated soap.
I'd say, ladies, Doug is spelled D-U-Z, and it's a really new kind of soap. Not just some old soap that's been fixed up to look new.
Hey, that's swell. Now go on.
Well, my mom says Doug does all three kinds of wash. Whiskers, towels, rayons, and everything. And if my mom says Doug does all that, you can bet your life it does. Here, Mr. Fleming, how's that?
Well, it's a good try, but don't you think you ought to put in a few more details?
Like what?
Well, Doug's is so new. Lots of ladies just can't understand how this one soap can get grimy overalls clean and dirty towels snowy white, and yet be really safe for pretty rayon slips.
Oh.
You see, Doug's is different from any other leading granulated laundry soap. It's so much safer for those delicate colors.
Okay, I'll remember that.
Yet, take those overalls you get so dirty.
Yeah, they get plenty dirty.
Well, Doug's will get them clean without any hard scrubbing. In fact, no soap made gets clothes clean easier than Doug's.
Boy, the ladies should like that.
Well, they do. And even more, they like the way Doug's gets their linens and towels so dazzling white. Why, they've never seen whiter washes anywhere than Doug's gives them. It just can't be beat by any other soap for turning out snowy white washes.
Hey, I get it. Doug is a three-way hit on wash soap.
Right. Tell the ladies to try Doug's, and they'll see it's a really new kind of granulated soap. Just say, ask for Doug's today. It does everything in your wash. And now, the Goldbergs. Well, the great strategic plan to marry Orianne to Dr. Theater is in full swing. While Jake and Sammy see to it that Orianne gets on the train, Chris Theater has managed to board the same train at a stop before. His plan to surprise Orianne will undoubtedly work. It isn't the best way to teach the woman you love a lesson in courtship, but it's Theater's idea, and it's his affair. And so far as Jake goes, well, the pleasure of keeping a thing like this from Molly is all the payment he needs. And Molly, who suspects something's brewing, can't decide just what it is. Now at the station, time flying.
Don't forget her ticket.
Oh, and there's Davis and Rosie?
Right over there, Ma.
Oh. Well, what is the schedule time? Oh, the train will be in soon, evidently.
Very soon, Molly.
Yes.
Yes?
Dave, dear.
Yes?
When I talk, look at me directly. Directly look at me. Dave, dear, there's nothing you wish to say to me before Orianne leaves.
What should I have to say?
I'm coming, dear. Coming. Nothing you wish to say to me.
No.
Nothing. Coming, Rosemary.
Are you sure everything is safe? Everything. The doctor said it will be on the train? Absolutely. He got down at the previous station.
Oh, I wish I could be on that train and see the greeting Orianne gives us.
You fall in his arms.
Oh, here comes Mama. Now, don't give yourself away.
You think Mama suspects something?
I can't tell. What do you think, huh? What do you...
I just got to the station. Master Jake, he said the train is slightly late.
Not by much, I don't think.
Well, we can't tell yet. Can't tell. It may be very distant. Family, does Orianne's release it? Huh? Over there, I think maybe to play them. Rosalie, come over here with the child. I don't know why I always get so nervous when a train is late.
Why should you be nervous?
Rosalie, no. Don't, David. David, don't say coming from not coming. They say coming, come, please. Well, David, this is it, Orianne. Why don't you help Orianne with her bed?
Yeah, come on, Pa. We'll help her.
Why do you need Papa, Sammy?
Why shouldn't I be helpful, also?
Come on, Pa. I'll help her.
Mama, darling, are you going to let Orianne go away? How can I stop her now? Oh, I don't know how to think. No, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know nothing either. If Orianne gets on the train and goes away, that's the end now. You have to keep her here. I have to keep her here. I have to keep her here. Oh, what's all this to do? What was all the maneuvers? What was all the maneuvers with Papa with the backwards and forwards? Why are they letting her go? Something's happened to me a bit. That I'm sure. But I'm not smart enough to know what. Oh, why am I such a... I don't know what. And Dr. Peter didn't even come down at the station to say goodbye. So they called Papa over to me immediately. Oh, look. Look how they're laughing. Look how they're laughing together. Sammy and Pop together. But they're laughing, what? Something. Yeah, Rosalie. He who laughs, Rosalie. And Rosalie, watch me. Rosalie, watch me and listen to me carefully what I have in my mind. Orianne will not go on the train unless I think it's necessary to go. Rosalie, if you've seen me using my handkerchief 2 times, look, like this. Yeah, see? That means... What are you going to do? Understand me, don't ask questions. There's no time for questions. The train will be here in a minute. It's twice, 2 times like this. Yeah. Then take David and walk away with him until the train goes away. But no, don't ask questions, darling. Watch me. If you see me using my handkerchief, David, I don't care. Take him even back to the house. I don't care what. You give me? I'll watch you now. If you use your handkerchief twice, I'll take David away until the train pulls out. Right. But I want you to do but watch if I see you your handkerchief, exactly. All right, now. Here's Gloria. Go over to the car. And let me talk to Orianne alone. You hear, Rosalie? All right, now. Just let me talk alone. Orianne? Is that my train? I don't think so. I think it's a freight train. I have my ticket. You can always get your money back. No, Mrs. Goldbergs. I'm going away. Orianne, maybe you're being too hasty. He hasn't even come down to the station to say goodbye. Even so, Orianne. Even so, maybe because Christopher Taylor thinks you shouldn't go away. But if you loved him, you wouldn't go. But if your pride is stronger than your love, then it's not real love. Pride, Orianne, goes forward before a fall. Oh, I'm not going away because I'm too proud to stay. I'm not going away because I don't love Chris. I'm leaving because I think whatever interest he has in me has nothing to do with love. And I'm not going to stay on while he makes up his mind. I'm not desperately in need of a husband or anyone's love. It would make Dr. Taylor feel very well. It would give him a lot of self-satisfaction to see me dragging around Glastonbury waiting for his Royal Highness to notice that I am alone and in love with him. Well, I'm not that kind of a woman, Mrs. Gold. Listen to me, Orianne. I'm your friend, am I not? Yes, you are, but... Then listen to me. Tell me where the law is that a woman has to be the one who doesn't propose. You don't think I'm going to go to Chris Taylor and propose to him? You love him, don't you? I did. Orianne, please. You're standing on the bridge. When the train comes, all will be lost. You love him, yes or no? Yes, but... Again, that. Because why don't you run to him and say, Chris, I love you, I'm going to marry you. Have him laugh in my face. He wouldn't laugh. He will. Well, if he laughs, you can laugh back. He won't laugh. I won't do anything like that. Why? Give me one reason. I can't, Orianne. Love comes once in a lifetime, Orianne. Once is enough, or I'm sick and tired of being in love. All it's giving me is heartache. Orianne, you're standing at the gates of paradise and you're looking out of the wrong window. Please, Mrs. Goldberg. I've made up my mind. And you wouldn't listen to me? I can't. All right. All right, I said my vote. I'll say no more. Is it cold, Mrs. Oh, slight cold, yes. Oh, I'm
We'll take care of your bags, Orianne.
Thank you.
Will you write to us and tell us, you have a cold, Molly?
Oh, slightly cold. Yes, it comes.
I'll get your bags, Orianne.
Where's baby? Where's the Rosa?
Where is Rosie?
She's here. She is the plane. She knows it all.
Where is Rosie?
Rosie.
That is she. Where did that child go? Sammy, the train is leaving. The train is leaving.
And while Jake and Sammy stand with their mouths open, and Orianne looks frantically for David, Molly is calm within. She's delayed Orianne. Only Molly doesn't know that Orianne's future is on the train riding off, not knowing that the woman he wants to surprise didn't get on the train. Poor Dr. Curtis. You know, if I were conducting a kitchen quiz, I'd ask you, are you washing dishes with an old-fashioned halfway soap? You are if you use a bar soap because it doesn't give you real speed. Or if you use a tough granulated soap, it's short on kindness for your hands. Well, you can forget such halfway soaps now that new Does is here. That amazing new kind of granulated soap for everything in your wash. And Does has everything you want for dishes, too. From whirlwind speed to greater kindness to your hands. In fact, Does is the only leading granulated laundry soap to treat your hands so gently. Just notice how nice and soft they feel after doing dishes with Does. Yet, see how fast this same Does cuts grease. No other soap can beat it for speedy dishwashing. Why, you can tell by the suds just how different Does is. Try new Does today. It has everything for dishes from lightning speed to extra gentleness to your hands. And be sure to listen to the next episode of The Goldbergs, written for you by Gertrude Burroughs. Next time, Jake tries to make a desperate recovery to save the plan. This is James Fleming wishing you a good day for Procter & Gamble, makers of Does, the new kind of granulated soap for all three kinds of wash.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to narcotics detail. A large hospital in your city is held up. $10,000 in high-grade narcotics is stolen. The bandits escape. Your job, get 'em.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, October 23rd. It was foggy in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of narcotics detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Kearney. My name's Friday. It was 7:16 a.m. when we got to St. Christopher's Hospital, the pharmacy. How you do?
Yes?
Police officer, sister. We'd like to see Sister Mary Benedict.
I'm she.
Mother Superior sent us down to see you, sister. We're investigating the narcotics robbery.
Oh, yes, there have been quite a few policemen here in the past hour. I believe it was the fingerprint men who just left. Just a minute, I have their card. Yes, they were from Leighton Fingerprint Division.
Stahl and the boys from Leighton Prince.
Yes, that's right. Sergeant Harlan Stahl.
Well, sister, we're the investigating officers assigned to the case. This is Sergeant Romero. My name's Friday.
Are you a lieutenant?
No, I'm a sergeant. I wonder if you could start right from the beginning for us. Just tell us what you know about the robbery.
Well, after Mass, I went to breakfast, and then I came downstairs here to the pharmacy to open up.
You keep the pharmacy locked overnight?
Oh, yes, always. We always assign an intern on night duty. He has the key in case any medicines are needed during the night. He's authorized to issue what may be needed upon the doctor's request.
Who else has a key to the pharmacy, sister?
Well, there are just 3 keys. Mother Superior keeps one in her desk, and we have one for the intern on duty, and I have one.
All right. You want to go on?
When I got down here this morning, I started to unlock the door and found it ajar. There were no lights on. I snapped on the wall switch. That one.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I saw young Jimmy Lyons.
That's the intern?
Yes, he was unconscious on the floor. I could see his head had been cut. He was bleeding profusely.
What'd you do then?
I called Mother Superior, and she came right down. Dr. Spencer was summoned. He came in and started administering aid to intern Lyons there on the floor.
Was that when you found out the narcotics were missing?
No, not just at that moment. Both Mother Superior and myself were quite worried about young Lyons' condition. It was really Mother Superior who first noticed the narcotics safe had been tampered with.
Your stories don't exactly jibe there, sister.
How do you mean?
Mother Superior gives you credit for first noticing the theft.
Oh, my, no. She's very charitable, but she's the first one who pointed to the safe. She's very observant.
I understand. Go ahead, please.
Upon checking the safe, we found that someone had taken our entire store of narcotics. Everything.
Is that the safe over there?
Yes, that's the narcotics safe. Don't touch that, Mr. Faraday.
No?
No, never. Nothing is to be touched until the police have completed their investigation. Clues.
Well, we're the police, sister.
Then, do you have all the clues you need?
Well, I wouldn't know, but the men from Leighton Fingerprints have dusted everything here, so it's all right to touch things now.
That was Mr. Harlan Stahl and his men?
Yes, that's right.
Oh, I didn't know.
We understand you have the inventory list.
Yes, I have it on my desk. Here.
Thank you.
We keep a running inventory, so that's the exact amount that's missing.
Yes, ma'am. Cocaine and morphine. No bird's eye, Joe.
Big haul, huh?
Looks like about 10,000 worth.
Like to have a copy of this inventory, sister?
Would you take the carbon? I like to keep the originals for my monthly files.
That'll be fine.
Outside of this intern, Lyons, nobody saw whoever it was.
No. Mother Superior and I have interrogated everyone. We made a thorough investigation on our own. I took notes.
Is that so?
Yes, that's the way Father Brown does it.
Father Brown?
Oh, yes, he's an expert detective.
Brown. You wouldn't mean Thad Brown?
No, Father Brown.
Father Brown. You people have your own detectives now?
Oh, my, no. He's not a regular detective. He's more like Mother Superior and myself.
Is that right?
Yes, he's in England. Solves some really difficult cases. Here, I'll show you. See right here? The Triple Cross, another exciting Father Brown mystery by G.K. Chesterton.
Oh.
Yes, I've all but one of the Father Brown books. Mother Superior has it. I get it after she finishes.
Mm-hmm. What's the condition of the intern?
He's resting comfortably. Dr. Spencer says he'll be all right. Had to take 9 stitches in his scalp.
We'd like to talk to him.
I'm sure that'll be all right. I don't have to tell you we all think this is a terrible thing.
Yes, sister, it is.
All those narcotics. Whoever took them will distribute them, won't they?
Well, that's our guess, sister. The stuff will be sold to addicts.
What makes a dope addict? How do they get started? Why do they do it?
I don't know, sister. I give you a lot of reasons.
None of them good.
None of them good.
And for a few moments of what? Tonight they have it and tomorrow they have nothing.
That's about the size of it, sister.
The stars are setting and the caravan starts for the dawn of nothing.
The Bible.
No, Omar Khayyam.
Before we left St. Christopher's Hospital, we talked with intern James Lyons. Since he was slugged from behind, he failed to see his assailant. He could tell us nothing. The entire hospital staff was screened thoroughly. They could add nothing to what we already knew. Between 6 and 7 o'clock that morning, $10,000 worth of high-grade prescription narcotics had been stolen. Somewhere in the city of Los Angeles was the answer. As in all narcotics cases, speed is the prime factor. Whoever held those narcotics wouldn't waste any time diluting or cutting it and making it ready for quick sale. Our job was to stop them. 5 minutes past 8 a.m., we checked in with Sergeant Harlan Stahl at Latent Fingerprints Detail.
Not much help, is it?
That's all you got, huh?
The safe was clean, not a print on it. No prints anywhere in the room. Slugged the intern from behind, took his keys, tore a belt loop off his trousers, opened the safe and waltzed out. Couldn't have been cleaner.
Yeah.
You didn't get anything on your end, huh?
Nothing.
Gentlemen?
Captain?
I picked one up.
Who is he?
Junker by the name of Babe Kellogg. He's really seeing Steve, but he's coming out of it. Let's go talk to him. Check you later, Stahl.
Yeah.
What's the story on him?
Wallace and Hunt picked him up. Downtown L.A. He was sitting in a parked car at 4th and Broadway. Thought at first he was a 390, but they couldn't raise him. He's down this way.
What else?
Well, Wallace figured he must be geed up, so they rolled up his sleeve to look for the spike marks. They found him.
Find anything on him?
Yeah, there were 2 vials of M on the seat beside him. Prescription stuff. You got that list of serial numbers from the hospital?
Yeah, right here.
All right, let's go in. Wallace?
Yeah, Captain?
Friday's got a list of the serial numbers on that hospital heist. Hop down and check them against the vials you found in his car.
Yeah, here you are, Wallace.
Thanks, Joe.
How you feeling, babe?
All right.
Kellogg, this is Friday and Romero, Central Division.
I see him.
You want to tell us about it?
Nothing to tell.
Living high, aren't you?
I'm unusual.
It's not the way I get it. You're scoring good. Prescription stuff.
Birthday present from a friend.
Who is it?
I want to keep his friendship.
Who's your connection, babe?
I don't know.
You know that morphine we picked out of your car is hot.
Isn't all of it?
Hospital pharmacy was knocked over this morning. If the numbers on those vials of yours match up, you're in a real jam.
No numbers on them?
You might as well tell us where you got it.
I'm not going to be a Fagin for you.
Nobody's asking to be a Fagin, Kellogg. That's high-powered stuff. If we don't get anybody else, it can go hard for you.
I'm not going to bite the hand that feeds me.
You want to stand alone on this one, not the idea?
I didn't say that.
Well, one of us isn't going to go along and hold your hand. How about it? Who's your connection?
All right, it isn't going to be a long wait, Kellogg. As soon as Walters gets back with those serial numbers, you can play hero all afternoon.
It'll be on the 12th floor of the county jail, babe. You won't have to wait long there either. The minute you put one foot in that courtroom, the judge will throw everything he's got at you.
2 bottles of drugstore stuff?
Robbery, Kellogg. $10,000.
Well, this is good, but 2 bottles ain't worth that much.
Well, you only show a part of it. Maybe you got the rest of it at your plant.
You got my plant. 1931 Essex. 4-wheel brakes.
Your car's being checked out.
Didn't find any more, did you? No. I couldn't be that lucky.
You feel pretty good now, but you'll get a yen on.
You won't help me. You never do.
When's the last time you helped us?
Your memory's worse than mine. I helped you. I helped you guys a lot. Don't you remember the Frank Smith plant?
No.
1933, Friday night last. I led you right to Smitty's plant. Smitty didn't have no geezer like he found on me. He was a big man. We turned up 4 kites on him.
Not for us, you didn't.
Sure I did. Right here in Kansas City. I done you a big favor that night. Friday night last.
A different town and a different night, babe.
You're kidding. In St. Louis?
Seeing Steve.
Yeah.
Don't kid me along. This is Kansas City. Where is this St. Louis?
You're in Los Angeles, babe. Los Angeles, California.
You're kidding. Clenard wouldn't do that to me.
Who's Clenard?
11th and Baltimore. Hangs out down at the Continental Hotel.
That's in Kansas City.
Yeah, Marty Clenard. Tough cop. He said to make a hot for me. He didn't want me in KC. Gave me a floater at a time. That's why I came here to St. Louis.
You're in Los Angeles, babe. You got it? Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah. You told me.
Want to step outside a minute?
Yeah. Stay with him, Romero.
Right.
That's it.
Checks out, huh?
Somebody cut through the serial number stamps on the vials, but you can still make them out. The 2 vials of morphine we found in Kellogg's car were from the hospital pharmacy.
Thanks, Wallace. Let's try it again, Friday.
Right.
All right, babe. Now let's cut out the jokes. Those 2 vials you had came from the hospital. The numbers check out.
No numbers on those vials.
How do you know? You probably didn't even look at them.
Oh, yeah, I looked. No numbers on them.
We found them, all right.
I don't see how you could read them. I couldn't.
Why not?
Somebody scratched them off.
Who, babe?
You wouldn't know 'em.
Try it.
How much heat do I have to stand if I take it alone?
Plenty. There was an intern slugged on that job. Hurt pretty bad. They're going to tag you for assault, too.
I never hit anybody in my life.
How do we know?
I just told you. We don't know you didn't pull this job. We haven't got any proof. Once more, what's the count?
Goes like this, babe. First-degree robbery, 5 years to life. Assault with a deadly weapon, 1 to 10. Violation of the State Narcotics Act, 1 to 15. You can add. They'll lose you up there. You can get a real yarn on by that time. There's no buzzing up at Q.
I can't go that route.
Where'd you get the stuff?
I'd rather be a Fagin than spend 50 years at the joint.
You convinced us. Where'd you get it?
Anybody turned Fagin before they spend 50 years at Q. No, I can't go that route.
Where'd you get it, babe?
From some joy popper.
Who?
I gave him $700. Cleaning.
Who?
Company passing himself off as a croaker. I can spot a guy's been hitting speedballs a mile away. I knew he wasn't any croaker.
What was his name?
He was scoring good somewhere. Oh, that's Cecil and Mary. Now I know where he got it.
Give us his name, babe.
He's a bit clear in pictures, Leonard Castle.
Where is he?
You're in Arizona. On location.
How could he be on location when you bought that stuff from him this morning?
Hopped the plane this morning. He was on his way.
Leonard Castle. Picture actor, that right?
You got it.
Run it down.
10 a.m. We checked the name Leonard Castle through R&I. We found nothing. We looked in the phone book and got the number. Garfield 3711, Central Casting.
Central Casting?
Los Angeles Police Department calling.
Yes, sir?
Do you have a Leonard Castle registered with you?
1 moment. Yes, we do.
Wonder if you could tell me if he's working.
Oh, just a minute. I have his card right here. Yes, he's working. He's doing crime report for Schumann and Kester, independent production. They're shooting over at Soundstages Incorporated.
They're working today?
Yes, he is.
You're sure that company's not on location?
No, we have no location showing for that picture.
Well, could you give me his call, please?
Surely. He had a 9 o'clock call today, stage 3. Did you wish to see Mr. Castle?
Yeah.
You shouldn't have any trouble locating him over there.
We'll find him.
You are listening to Dragnet, actual case histories taken from official police files.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to these case histories taken from the file marked Fatima.
On this card, reporter Lee Silver's statement.
I need an extra mild cigarette. No other long cigarette I've tried is as mild as Fatima.
Here is Nurse Shirley Gilman's statement.
When I go off duty, I appreciate a mild cigarette. Fatimas are extra mild. I can enjoy them more.
On this card, the statement by drama critic Richard Watts, Jr.
Anyone can tell Fatima contains the finest tobaccos. It's extra mild and has a much better flavor.
All agree it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima. And that's what more and more smokers are discovering every day. Yes, actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. You'll agree
it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Best of all, long cigarettes.
"10:30 a.m. Central Casting gave us Leonard Castle's home address, and Detectives Long and Hunt went on immediate stakeout. Ben and I drove out to Sound Stages Incorporated and checked in at the reception desk. We showed them our identification. We were issued a pass to Sound Stage 3.
This is Stage 1. Stage 3 ought to be down there.
Yeah.
Not a very big lot.
No, it's pretty small. Watch the truck, Ben.
Think Kellogg knew what he's talking about?
We'll know in a couple of minutes.
Not very usual. Joy Pauper pulling a job like that.
They all start somewhere.
That's a good way to get around a movie lot. Bicycle.
Better than walking. Sure a thick fog, isn't it?
Yeah, we don't have them often, but when we get them, they're real pea super. Oh, here we are.
You better hold it, Ben. Red light. They're shooting in there.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see it.
What's Stage 5, you know?
Couldn't tell you.
Okay.
All clear. Let's go in.
Hey, fella.
Yeah.
Wonder if you can tell us where we can find Leonard Castle?
Sure. Rosie, call Len Castle, will you? This fellow's want to see him.
Okay.
Leonard Castle. Leonard Castle.
Guess we can wait over here by the phone, huh?
He'll be right here.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Rosie, you call me?
These gentlemen want to see him.
Thanks, Rosie. You want to see me?
Your name, Leonard Castle?
Yeah, that's right.
Police officers.
Yeah?
There's someplace where we can talk.
Well, is this all right? I got to stick close. I might be in the next shot.
All right. You know a fellow by the name of Babe Kellogg?
No.
He says he knows you.
No, I never heard of him.
You sure?
Put us on a bell, George. Hold the work. Quiet down, quiet.
Have to hold it a minute. They're lining up a shot.
Lefty, move that fruit about 1.5 feet to your right. That's it. Hold it right there. Make it a little hotter. Couple of turns. Whoa, whoa. That's got it. Doctor, give me an inky dink right here, camera left.
Harry.
No.
When Fred Conrad crosses over at the table, can you help me out a little? Can you bring this one down about 2 points on the dimmer?
It's done. Time to get that?
All ready, Millie.
Mr. Conrad?
Yes, sir?
Take it real easy. Remember, you don't know your sergeant's got a clue until he comes to you with it.
All right.
You're anticipating a little bit, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Let's try it.
Bob, what's that mic shadow? We're getting it on that wall.
Am I out now?
No, too much. You come in a little. That's fine. You're clear.
All ready?
All right, we can try one.
Turn him over.
Rolling.
Speed. Action.
All right, Chief. As soon as I get all the clues, I'll be right down.
Look, I found it, Lieutenant.
Piece of that broken window, huh?
That's right. It's plastered with fingerprints.
Yeah? We got our man.
Cut.
Let's hold it quiet, folks.
You never heard of Babe Kellogg, huh?
That's right.
Where were you at 6 o'clock this morning, Castle?
In bed?
We've got men out to your place checking.
What's it all about?
Between 6 and 7 o'clock this morning, somebody robbed the pharmacy at St. Christopher's Hospital. They slugged the intern, made off with over $10,000 worth of narcotics.
Yeah?
If we find you were in bed between 6 and 7, you're clear.
No, I was.
Anybody to back up that alibi?
The landlady, I guess you'd know.
What time she generally get up?
Oh, I don't know. Why?
She couldn't very well back you up. She was still asleep.
Well, she's usually up early.
Thought you said you didn't know what time she got up.
Well, I meant I don't usually know.
But you knew this morning.
No.
And you don't know Babe Kellogg.
Simmer down, everybody. Let's have it quiet.
Light them all.
What do you read on that junior, Harry?
9 plus.
Make it a little hotter.
A little hotter, Jack. That's it. Whoa. 10 plus, Steve.
That's it.
How about it, Steve?
Yeah, you can.
Turn him over.
Rolling.
Speed. Action.
All right, Chief. As soon as I get all the clues, I'll be right in.
Look what I found, Harry.
Piece of broken window, huh?
That's right. It's plastered with prints.
Yeah? We got our man.
Cut. Jake, you said plastered with prints. The line reads plastered with fingerprints. You got to say the whole word. They'll never know what you mean in Vancouver. Come here, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Hold the work. Keep it quiet.
That's Millie. He's a tough director, but he's a good one.
How long you been doing this kind of work, Castle?
Oh, 6, 7 years.
What pictures you been in?
Oh, I don't think you'd have noticed. They're mostly small parts.
What kind of part you got in this picture?
I play a cop.
What would you like to do?
In this picture?
No, I mean, what's your ambition? You going to stay in pictures?
Yeah, I'd like to. I'd like to get a few bigger parts if I could. It's pretty tough to try and sell yourself to producer if you can't see you on film.
Money's pretty good, though, isn't it?
Well, it all depends. It's a different deal on each picture you do.
Mm-hmm. You have an agent?
No, I did have. Wasn't doing anything for me, so I let him go on. Not represented now.
Pretty hard to build any kind of a name without an agent, isn't it?
It all depends. If you can keep up a good front, nice car, that's all that counts in this town.
You really believe that, do you?
Don't you?
Well, I don't know much about it. I'm not an actor.
You said you didn't know Babe Kellogg at all, didn't you?
No, I don't know.
You said you saw your landlady at 6 o'clock this morning.
No, I didn't say that. Well, there's Theodore Milton, the director. Would you like to meet him?
What time did you see your landlady this
Oh,
morning?
Miss Milton.
Yeah, Castle?
When are you going to get to me, Millie? You need me in the shop?
No, still on the same thing. We'll get to you till after lunch. You can stay with your friend.
Okay.
What time does it break for lunch, Castle?
Oh, this company usually breaks around 12:30.
It's only 11:15. Maybe we can go outside and talk. The director said he didn't need you.
Why, you never want to believe the director. It's always the first assistant.
We could check with him, couldn't we?
Well, I don't like to do that. I hate to ask any favors.
Said he wasn't going to use you till after lunch.
Well, it isn't a good policy to bother the first assistant.
Well, it's probably better in here anyway. I didn't see any place to sit down outside. Unless you have a car in the lot. Do you have a car?
No, I don't.
But you told us you had a car.
No, I didn't tell you that, did I?
Well, you said something about keeping up a good front, nice car. Isn't that what you said?
Oh, sure, I have a car. I don't know what I was thinking about. Yeah, I have a car.
Mm-hmm. I thought you said you had a car.
Well, I tell you, this picture act will drive you crazy. I don't know what I'm saying if it's
Maybe you made a mistake about Babe Kellogg. Do you know him?
No, I'm sure about that. I don't know any Babe Carson.
Kellogg.
You're Kellogg, you know. I don't know him.
Would you mind showing us your wallet?
Well, what for? You want to see my identification?
Can we see the wallet, please?
All right. Yeah.
No, you hold it. Would you open it up?
Okay.
Quiet, please. All right, Chief.
Yeah, okay.
Turn him.
Rolling.
Speed. All right. Nice and easy now. Fingerprints, Jake.
Right.
Action.
All right, Chief. As soon as I get all the clues, I'll be right in.
Look what I found, friend.
Piece of broken window, huh?
That's right. It's plastic with fingerprints.
Yeah? We got our man.
Cut.
Sandy?
No talking.
Let's see how much money you got in your wallet, Castle. No, you hold it. Just count it for us.
Oh, there it is.
What about the rest of it in there?
All right, I didn't see it.
All right, count it.
Just a few hundred here.
Count it.
All right. Let's see.
Well, I can see 450s right there on top. That's 200, isn't it?
Yeah. 300. 400. 450.
Yeah, go on.
I didn't know I had this much.
That's 250 more. That makes 700, doesn't it?
It's more than I thought I had.
There's 2 more 10s and a 5 there. That's $725, Castle.
Yeah.
Doing pretty well on this picture, aren't you?
It's not all picture money.
All right, you can put your wallet away.
Thanks.
You didn't make this money on the picture. Where'd you get it?
Played little cards last night.
Play pretty late?
Yeah, pretty late.
Weren't you tired this morning?
No.
Not even when you got up at 6?
Did I say I got up at 6?
Now, listen, Castle. You don't know what you said, but one thing's sure, you're lying to us. You know Babe Kellogg, and you know him well enough to sell him 2 vials of high-grade morphine.
Oh, you're wrong about that.
All right, then you set us straight. Kellogg says he paid you $700 for this stuff. You got over $700 in your wallet. That's more than you need for lunch money. Now, this could be a coincidence. You set us straight.
Well, you're wrong.
Where'd you get the money?
Turn him.
Rolling?
Speed. Action.
All right, Chief. As soon as I get all the clues, I'll be right in.
Look what I found, Tom.
Piece of broken window, huh?
That's right. It's plastic with fingerprints.
Yeah? We got our man.
Cut.
All right, once more.
Where'd you get the money, Castle?
I told you I played cards.
It won't do. Got the keys to your car?
I can't leave.
We'll get you excused. We want to look at your car.
No, don't do that.
All right, then. Do you know Babe Kellogg?
I don't know.
Turn him.
Rolling?
Speed. Action.
All right, Chief. As soon as I get all the clues, I'll be right in.
Look what I found, Tom.
Piece of broken window, huh?
That's right. It's plastic with fingerprints.
Yeah? We got our man.
Cut. Frank. Hold it for Lily.
Do you know Babe Kellogg?
Yes. Yes, I know him. I know it.
You robbed that hospital this morning.
I needed it. I needed the money. I had to have it. I owed money. They were going to take my car. I was broke. What else could I do?
I was sick once. I stayed at St. Christopher's. I knew where they kept the drugs. I knew if I could get them, I could make some fast money. I didn't mean to hit the kid. I couldn't let him see me. He didn't have to be there, did he? He didn't have to be there. I sold old Babe the stuff, and the rest is in the car under the seat. I needed the money. I was broke. I was broke.
Better get him out of here, Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Castle.
That was a great reading. My name's Milton. I'm directing this picture. You the boy's agent?
No, sir.
Never heard him read better. Funny thing, though.
Yeah?
In front of the camera, he goes to the dogs.
The story you've just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On January 28th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 91, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. The working detective in reaching the solution of a crime depends on the combined efforts of many minds and many hands. The crime lab, state and federal peace officers, and you, the citizen. And so with Fatima. The combined efforts of many go into their blending and manufacture. Skilled hands, working with the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, make Fatima extra mild, best of all long cigarettes. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, try Fatima. Every pack is extra mild. Smoke Fatima.
Ladies and gentlemen, starting Thursday, August 24th, that's 2 weeks from tonight, Dragnet will be heard 1 hour earlier at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time.
Leonard Francis Castle was tried and convicted of first-degree robbery and violating the State Narcotics Act. He received sentences as prescribed by law. Alfred Babe Kellogg was convicted of violating the State Narcotics Act. Both men are now serving their terms in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
Sarah Berner is delightful in Sarah's Private Caper. Next on NBC.
My name's Jeff Regan. I get 10 a day and expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Lyon. Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan Investigator, stand by for hard-boiled action, mystery, and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of The Man in the Door.
Well, this is the way it started. The Lion called about 4 o'clock that afternoon. Said he wanted to see me down at the office. I argued a while and finally told him I'd be there. Melody was sitting in front of her typewriter when I came in, putting a new coat of paint on her nails. She handed me a blank contract with no dates filled in, jerked a thumb toward the Lion's den. I went in.
Regan, I'm glad you got here. What do you know about architects?
They draw things.
I know that much, but what about bids and all that stuff?
Well, they figure out what a building's going to cost, don't they?
Go on.
If whoever's paying for the building likes what they write down, then they're hired.
A couple of architects, maybe 3 or 4 make bids.
Well, I suppose so. Low man gets the job. Why?
Our client's an architect named Dudley Hayes, an office in the Park Central building. He thinks maybe the bank that's handling his bid might try to put something over on him.
Banks don't do things like that.
He thinks maybe a guy who works at the bank might be taking dough to shove his bid under the counter.
Why didn't you say that in the first place?
Because I'm saying it now. Haynes wants us to look into it.
All right, who do I see?
Haynes first. I only talked to him on the phone. I told him we'd have to have a contract and retainer before we did anything.
That figures.
So hop over there and find out what's what and make him sign that contract and get a check.
Anything else?
Make sure it's certified and call me if you run into any trouble.
Dudley Haynes, architect, Park Central Building. Had an office on the 9th floor. When I went in, a girl with hair that figured to be blonde right down to the roots pulled off her glasses and put out her cigarette. And she kind of eased out of her chair behind that desk, moved toward me, like a panther looking for a meal.
My, you're tall, aren't you?
Well, there's nothing I can do about that.
Mr. Lyons said he was sending us one of his best men.
He always says that.
I think he meant it this time.
He's an awful liar, lady.
Dorothy Nolan.
Fits?
The name or the dress?
Both.
What's yours?
Jeff Regan.
Oh. Well, now we know each other.
That's nice. I came to see Haynes. He wants me to look into something for him.
I know.
He's expecting me.
I know.
Well?
I hope you have to look into a lot of things.
For Haynes?
No.
This is his office, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. But he spends most of his time in 902 into the hall. Makes his blueprints up there. I'll take you. You are tall.
Well, we started down the hall. We got about 10 feet from the frosted glass door at the end. We both stopped. We were looking at the outline of a big man behind the door. Both of us expected him to open it and walk out. Oh, he came out all right, but he walked right through it. Oh, he's been shot.
Oh.
You know him?
It's my boss, Mr. Hayes.
No, it was your boss, lady. He's dead. Lieutenant Salvatore Wendetti, Central Homicide Detail, showed up about 8 minutes after I called. He had his whole goon squad with him and a couple of guys in double-breasted suits from the district attorney's office. They roped off the entrance to the building, got hold of the elevator operators, the man who runs the cigar stand, and asked them questions. Then Wendetti looked at what was left of Haynes and started yelling into a phone.
It's in a basket. Open, don't move until my fingerprint boys get through. Yeah. Okay, sis, where the guy lives?
At the Biltmore Hotel.
Where's his wife?
We didn't have one.
What do we tell?
We didn't have any family.
So no one's going to cry. Well, that makes it easier. Regan, was he your client?
No, nobody's a client until they sign a contract, Sally.
Well, you would bring him a contract to sign, and then you would do something for him. What?
Well, I didn't talk to him.
Sis?
Mr. Haynes had made an estimate on a little office building in Beverly Hills. He thought that a man named Adler at the bank might be taking money from someone to hold his bid out.
So he wants an investigator to look into it. Why do you think that?
Oh, I don't know.
You work for him.
Well, I don't know everything.
Neither do I. Hot, isn't it? Who's Adler?
Oh, just a name to me.
Who else?
Who else?
Architects. Who else was making a bid?
I don't know that.
Now, where are we? Kelly!
Yes?
Guy named Adler at the
Grand
National
Bank.
Bank. Pick him up and have him down to my office in half an hour.
Yes? What do you want to do about reporters, Sally?
Tell him to go jump in the lake.
Yes.
They always spell my name wrong. How long you two known each other?
An hour?
Nice.
What do you mean by that?
Just nice. Didn't hear any shots?
No, we didn't.
Tell me more about the bid.
What's there to tell?
The setup.
Well, the bank handles the money.
Who says yes, who says no?
Well, the bank, but...
But what?
The contractor usually tells them who to take.
Huh? Who's that in this case?
Contractor in Long Beach, his name is George Cantrell.
I'll say this to you, Regan. When you get mixed up in anything, you certainly get mixed up with the good-looking people.
I'm not mixed up in anything.
What do you say, sis?
I'll keep my mouth shut.
She's a smart girl, Regan. Hello, honey. Won't be home for dinner. Some guy got himself killed and I'm in on it. Not long, no. Regan? I'll tell her. Wife says hello. Says come out to dinner sometime. Whoop. Sis, how much that contract worth?
Oh, the building in Beverly Hills, about $40,000.
Profit?
No, overall.
Break it down.
Well, Mr. Haynes would have said about $12,000 if he'd gotten it.
I know some guys are killed for a dime. Sam, Wendetti. I'm still at the Park Central building. Get out to Long Beach and talk to a contractor named George Cantrell. And find out what architects were making bids on some stuff he was going to put up in Beverly Hills. Yeah, get the name. Okay, that about does it. Let's go. Miss Nolan?
What?
I have to take you down.
Jeff, can you do that?
Well, you're a material witness.
Well, what are you?
He's a bystander with a built-in lawyer.
Well, I do, Jeff.
Go with him.
Why do you want to spend the night in jail? I just worked for Mr. Haynes.
No phone calls. It's a murder case.
Well, get me a lawyer or something, Jeff.
Do you know a lawyer?
No. Wait, yes, I do. His name's Dave Henderson. He lives at 1648 Claremont Place. Will you probably tell him I'm in trouble?
Yeah. Jack, Sally?
She didn't make a phone call. I like her, too.
Well, look, he may not be able to do anything for you tonight. It's almost 6.
But you'll see him as soon as possible.
Yeah?
Tell him I'm scared, Jack. Scared stiff.
Well, I stayed there and phoned the Lion, told him what had happened. Well, he got mad and yelled something about me being a jinx on all our clients, and then he hung up. So I went through the classified telephone directory under attorneys and Henderson. There was a Ben, a George, a Joe, a William, but no Dave Henderson. So I drove out to the address that she'd given me. It was a blue apartment house 4 blocks west of Vermont over by the Coliseum. Somebody was cooking hamburgers somewhere, and somebody was all worked up over a ball game on the radio. I picked the baseball fan.
Well, what'll happen now is anybody's guess, but let me tell you that this ball game is a long way from being a... Hey, what'd I tell you? It's outside the ballpark, and they're coming in like homing pigeons. Bases are loaded, and they're all coming in. Oh, it's going to be 8-5.
Come on, the ball game's not that good.
What's so important, Pilgrim? I'm with the ball game.
I'm looking for a man named Dave Henderson, a lawyer.
So what?
Somebody told me he lives in this apartment house.
Who told you that?
A lady.
Ha!
Does he live here?
You try looking at the mailbox?
No name.
You cop?
Private type.
Ha!
Does he live here?
Sure he lives here.
Well, where?
End of the hall, 106.
Thanks.
So he's a lawyer, is he? With his kind of friends? Ha!
What does that mean?
You're young, ain't you, Curly?
I got a driver's license.
Let me tell you something. Don't go knocking on no doors and hear a ball game. Remember that.
Yeah, I'll remember
And
that.
you can tell him Tessie Bogart to start to that one.
And the score is 8-5 coming into the first half of the ninth, and this has been some ball game, let me tell you.
106. Here we are.
Come on in. It's unlocked.
Your name Dave Henderson?
Yeah, who wants to know?
My name's Regan. I'm a private investigator with the International Detective Bureau.
Wrong steer gumshoe. I don't need one.
Look, I'm not looking for work. I'm looking for you.
What'd you say it was? Regan?
That's right.
R-E-G-A-N. Regan. Regan. Learned that just an hour ago. Cute, huh?
I met a friend of yours today.
Dave Henderson never had a friend.
She said she was a friend of yours.
But I didn't say I was a friend of hers. Hey, who are we talking about anyway?
Dorothy Nolan.
How is Dorothy?
Not so good.
Thought you were a detective.
I am.
You sound like a doctor.
Look, you sound like a guy with a chip on his shoulder.
Sound like a lot of things. You're trying to be tough, baby.
No wonder you aren't in the telephone directory.
I'll just skip that.
She said you were a lawyer.
I say I drink too much. Haven't seen me drinking, have you?
She wants you to get in touch with her. The man she was working for was murdered today.
She kill him?
Well, they're holding her.
Material witness or a suspect?
Material witness right now. She doesn't want to spend the night in jail.
Who does? That's why she isn't feeling so good, huh? He wants me to get her out.
Something like that.
Who's handling the case downtown?
Detective named Wendetti.
Yeah, and where do you come in?
Well, he didn't give her that one phone call.
Yeah. You're sensitive. What if I said no?
Well, that's your business.
You know why she asked you to see me? Because I'm a guy she knows. And every guy who knows little Dorothy does a little something for her. Ever met him like that, Regan?
Sometimes.
I'm just checking.
Checking what?
She's pretty good with the works. Eyes just right for the job. Hair just right. Everything just right. She can make you do a lot of things you don't want to do. Wait till you see her in a bathing suit. Ooh, that's something, brother.
Well, they aren't wearing them in the county jail.
Okay, I'll phone Wendetti and find out what her bond is.
Look, this is a murder case. There's no bond on this. You know that.
Well, it depends how you handle it. I'll think of something.
Yeah, I'll bet you will.
We don't like each other much, do we?
Nope.
That's the way it goes.
Listen, she said to tell you she was scared.
Well, some of us are scared part of the time. And somebody gets shot. And everybody gets scared. You scared?
Nope.
Iron Man Regan. Have a good time.
Did I say Haynes was shot?
No. You didn't say a thing. See you somewhere, Peter.
Well, I stopped by Musso Frank's and had the special, and then I went on home. I tried to make a couple of calls, but Wendetti was out, and the desk sergeant thought I was a reporter, and he wouldn't tell me a thing about Dorothy Nolan. While I was sitting there, the phone began jumping around on the hook.
Regan?
Yeah.
This is me. Where you been? I called your place 20 times, but I've called it once.
Well, I've been busy seeing a lawyer.
What do you need a lawyer for? You aren't married.
Somebody else needs one.
Who?
Dorothy Nolan, that blonde who worked up in Haynes' office. Wendetti's holding her.
Good. I want you to go down and see her.
What for?
We can still make something on this thing if we play it smart. And when I talked to Haynes on the phone this afternoon, I told him I wanted a certified check.
So what?
So that means there's a check for $100 lying around his office somewhere. And it's made out to International.
Look, he's dead, remember?
Everybody dies. Don't worry about it.
We weren't even hired.
We had a verbal contract.
We had nothing.
That check's no good to anybody but us.
We didn't do anything for him.
We'll buy him some flowers. Now hop down to the pokey and see that dame and find out where that check is.
We can't do that.
I talked to Harry Presidio, and he'll give us a lead to get in. Hello? Hello? Regan, you're still there?
I was still there, but I wasn't listening to the lion. I was looking at a skinny little man with one leg.
Regan, you're still there?
Now, don't ask me how he made it inside my door. He was just there, propped up on a pair of crutches, swaying back and forth, watching me with a couple of sick gray eyes that were so full of water you'd think they were going to float right out of his head. All at once, he went down like a busted sugar sack. He'd been shot twice through the neck with a small caliber gun, a 25, 32, I don't know. I found a dozen razor blades in one pocket and 24 sets of shoelaces to go with them. There wasn't anything that told me his name, but there was a picture inside his shirt pocket. One of those things that you have taken in a penny arcade, you know, in front of phony pasteboard props. Well, the man with one leg was looking out from between a pair of painted angel's wings, and the guy standing next to him, who was smiling up at the halo, was the same man that I'd seen that afternoon. An architect named Haynes. A man who needed a private detective. A man who walked out a glass door and then dropped dead. And the one printed word above that picture stuck like a wart on an egg that said, Happy Land.
You're listening to the story of the man in the door. Tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Here is a special and important message to every businessman listening. To every businessman, regardless of the size or the type of his business. Gentlemen, do you realize that the schools of this community help you every day that you're in business? That's right. For one thing, our schools teach the boys and girls of this community to cherish the human rights, the free enterprise on which our country and your business are founded. With each new generation graduated from our schools, the Army defending our way of life, and your business grows stronger. What's more, good teachers and well-equipped schools do a better job of developing our children's talents. The result? School graduates who become more skilled and more efficient employees. So remember, any time and taxes that you contribute to improving local schools are an investment in your own business future. Education is good business. Education can maintain our freedom. And freedom is everybody's job. And now, back to the story of the man in the door and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Well, I left the little man with the one leg lying there. There wasn't much I could do for him. I wanted to wait before I called homicide. I took the picture I found in his pocket and I drove to Happy Land. It turned out to be an open-air penny arcade on 5th and Main. Smelled like all the hot dogs in the world had been made right there. There were machines all over the place telling you how strong you were, how rich you'd be, and who you'd marry. All for a penny. I guess it wasn't much of a bargain. The only customer was a sailor trying his luck at the shooting gallery. Back in the corner, a tired-looking girl in light blue slacks and a dirty gray sweater was sitting on a stool by the hot dog counter staring at nothing.
Want some pennies?
Not right now, no.
Oh, just looking? Go ahead. You figure out where you're going to spend your money. Come back, and I'll give you some change.
You got a picture gallery here?
Oh. Don't tell me you're a real big spender and want to have your picture taken.
Maybe. You got one?
Yeah, we got one.
Where is it?
In there. If you really want to get your picture taken, I'll climb off this stool and take you back. I want to tell you now, if you're just trying to be sociable, you can go and fly a kite.
You run the picture concession?
I run the picture place and the hot dog place, and I sweep out in the mornings. Oh, I wish I had better brains than to marry that slob and get myself stuck in a cheap dump like this.
All right. Do you remember taking this picture?
How would I know? I take a lot of pictures.
Well, come on, look at it.
All right. Yeah, I took it. That what sold you?
When?
What do you think I am? Can't remember what night it is every time a pair of drunks comes in and wants their pictures taken together.
Well, try to remember, will you?
You're a real wise guy, mister. You don't want no picture. You just want some talk. You're a cop.
Friend. I met the little guy in the picture once.
Dusty?
What was that?
I thought you said you met him once.
Well, we weren't introduced. I just met him. Who is he?
Dusty Rhodes. Works the circuit.
What circuit?
Fifth and Main, STEM. Business section.
What kind of business?
Dusty handled the razor blade and shoelace traffic. He hates pencils.
What did he do when he wasn't working?
What does anybody do? He went out and got loaded.
Go on.
And you don't know him very well for a friend. How am I going to know I'm not getting Dusty in trouble talking to you like this?
Nobody can get him in trouble anymore, lady.
What do you mean?
He was shot tonight.
Oh, no. Oh, poor little guy.
Do you know where he lived?
Seashore Hotel. The Seashore Hotel. Oh, gee, Miss, I'm sick. Oh, I'm real sick.
Brother, the seashore caters to many types of people, good and bad, just out of the pokey. 2 bits a night for transients, $1.50 a week for solid citizens. And sign and register, it's a law.
I'm not looking for a room.
Then you're wasting my time, brother. My beer's getting warm.
Look, I'm a private investigator. My name's Regan.
I liked you before you said them 2 words, brother, but you have soured me. Private investigator means private eye, and it all means cop. And you are not welcome. Now blow.
I'm trying to find out something about a man named Dusty Rhodes.
We do not ask questions, and we do not give answers. Now blow.
I was told he lived here.
You find me tongueless, brother. Now blow.
Did you know him?
During the last 5 years, I have acquired 85 pounds and a very bad heart, or I'd have you in the alley right now.
Oh, yeah, sure you did. Here.
Abraham Lincoln was a very fine man, and he took a very fine picture. I seem to have found my tongue, brother. What'll it be?
The key to his room for a starter, huh?
Disallowable and punishable by fine and imprisonment. Into the hall, turn the bent fist to the right.
Thanks. Well, I don't know what I expected to find there. Outside of more razor blades and more shoelaces. With a little room full of dirty white curtains and a wire bed that sagged in the middle. I was standing there watching a neon sign advertise beer a block down the street when I thought I heard somebody behind me. Whoever it was had been drinking bad whiskey, but he was still pretty good. It landed 1/4 of an inch above my right ear, and I piled up in a lamp, a chair, and a pitcher full of water.
5 berries gets you a look, brother, but doesn't get you a room. Besides, it's already taken and the bed's over there. Now, come on. You didn't go to sleep, brother. You was knocked to sleep. I apologize. Why the games?
Who came in after me?
You're the only one.
You sure?
My name's Sam Preacher. Brother, I'm very sure.
Well, maybe he was waiting for me, huh?
I don't generally ask him, but the question is this. Why?
Oh, I don't know. Unless...
What's the matter? Something missing?
Just a picture.
Didn't get lots of pictures.
You didn't see anybody?
That makes the third time, brother, and the answer's still negative.
Okay.
Then let's blow, buddy, huh?
Coroner's office.
Luke, this is Regan.
The lion's eye. What's with you, baby? When Daddy tells me you walked into one today.
Yeah, I did. You got him there?
Haynes Dudley? Sure. Want to come down and take a look? He's toe-tagged and salted down real pretty.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Them 32 slugs was just incidental. The guy had 4 weeks in the outside.
All right, give it to me.
Haynes Dudley was dying from malnutrition, alcoholism, and a couple other things with long names.
Give me one long name.
Diabetes. He didn't take good care of himself. Funny, huh?
A misspent life.
Somebody's gonna take the gas chamber for nothing.
When Daddy know this?
Sure. And he was wearing a brand new suit, too. We'll sew up the holes. We'll bury him in it.
Well, you aren't finished yet, Luke.
Baby!
A guy with one leg dropped dead in my place a couple hours ago.
It's after 11.
I'm sorry, Luke.
They connected?
Yeah?
Murder?
Yeah.
Well, come down and see us anytime, Regan. We're open 24 hours a day.
Well, at the homicide office, they told me she'd been released about 10 o'clock. They said a lawyer named Henderson had put up the bail and handled the whole thing. They gave me an address on her, and I went out there. It was a bungalow court on Normandy, and it took her a long time to answer the door.
Oh, you?
Yeah, tell me how tall I am.
I'd love to, but not right now.
They told me you'd been out since 10 o'clock. Maybe I should have come sooner.
Dale gives me the willies. I'm about to take a shower.
I was kind of hoping we could have a drink.
I did better than I thought with you.
I got a hold of a lawyer for you, didn't I?
Yes?
Well, doesn't that rake me an invitation to have a drink?
I said later. I'm really tired.
I said no.
Wait a minute. Well, if you're that thirsty, all right.
That's better.
Isn't every day my boss gets killed and I meet a private detective?
I need a drink. I was slugged tonight.
Throat?
Yeah, right here, see?
Oh, it looks nasty. Why didn't anyone do that to you?
Wanted a picture I had?
Whistler's mother?
Just a picture of a couple of drunks who are dead now.
Maybe whoever did it was a relative.
Guess again.
I don't like games.
But you play them all the time.
Don't we all? I know a psychiatrist who says we can't help ourselves.
You can.
I liked you when you walked into the office this afternoon, but I'm not so sure I like you now. Maybe you better go.
Expecting somebody, huh?
What are you doing? You let go of me. Let go
Oh,
of
no,
me.
baby. You got real nice eyes. I want to look at them.
Let go. He's crazy. You.
Hello, Dave. We didn't hear you knock. Did you bring your piano? What's the idea?
He gave me.
Why don't you tell him to go away, baby? Anybody can tell we're busy. Let it go, Regan. You want to break us up?
Can't you see he's just trying to make you jealous and say things?
Come here, honey.
No. You don't have to do that.
I said let her go. That the same 32 you killed a one-legged man with?
Over, Gumshoe.
Don't be a fool.
Stay right where you are, baby. You're first.
Listen to me, baby.
I listened to you too long.
You don't need guessing. He doesn't have any proof of anything.
You can cry if you want to, baby. This is going to hurt.
She spun around and fell into a coffee table and then lay very quiet on the rug. Her eyes were open and she didn't say anything. She just lay there looking up at him. I couldn't tell where she'd been hit. He seemed to forget all about me because he walked over to her, knelt down beside her, put the gun right up against her head.
This is awful close range, baby, but I can't afford to miss.
Neither could I. Well, when Daddy and I stuck our heads together, and it all came out when we looked into a couple of things. You see, Dave Henderson was Dudley Haynes, and he was wanted for attempted murder and embezzling and one thing or another back in Ohio. So he figured it'd be a good idea to bump himself off. Dorothy helped him with the idea. They both went down on Main Street, and they picked up an old bum, dressed him up in a new suit, and shot him. I was supposed to walk in with Dorothy, and she'd identify the body, and as far as anybody knew, Dudley Haynes would be dead. Dave didn't figure that she'd be taken down. She didn't figure that she'd get scared, and neither of them figured the man with one leg was a pal of the man that they'd shot. Well, it seems that they'd looked through a lot of files, and they'd figured that a lot of murders go unsolved. Maybe they do. I don't know. Well, anyway, he sat down on that little bench up there in San Quentin last week. The one with that bucket of acid in the room. Well, he held his breath as long as he could, but everybody has to breathe. He's buried up there with a lot of other guys that figured they could get away with murder. Dorothy? She wasn't hurt too bad. They had her in a wheelchair for the trial. She got 15 years as an accomplice. Some kind of a deal. State's evidence and all that. I don't think I'll wait for her. She wasn't that good.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan, with Wilms Herbert as Anthony J. Lyon. It's CBS at 9:30 next week for more hard-boiled action and mystery with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Written by E. Jack Newman and produced by Sterling Tracy. Dorothy Nolan was played by Betty Lou Gerson, and David Ellis was Dave Henderson. Lorene Tuttle, William Conrad, and Lou Krugman supported. It's perfectly natural and wholesome for some men who want to leave great wealth behind. There's a druggist in a small town in Pennsylvania who'll do that. The wealth he'll leave behind will make many lives easier and happier and finer down through the years. For he was the principal donor of an outdoor meeting place for religious services in a Boy Scout camp in the Poconos. Working with his neighbors in community activities, he saw the need of this improvement, helped to install it. That's the kind of wealth that you can bequeath to generations coming on as you enjoy the freedom of working with your neighbors for the betterment of your community. Freedom that can be anybody's pleasure is everybody's job. Music for this program is arranged by Dick Arant. Next week at 9:30, Jeff Regan, Investigator, brings you another thrill-packed half hour with his story of the House by the Sea. Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Ladies and gentlemen, next week, Thursday, August 24th, Dragnet will be heard 1 hour earlier at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to Juvenile Bureau. A vicious case of wanton and willful destruction of private property occurs in your city. Suspicion points to a juvenile. Your job, find him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, April 10th. It was cool in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of Juvenile Bureau. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Inspector Bowling. My name's Friday. It was 9:35 a.m. when we got to 1335 Georgia Street, captain's office.
I won't ask you to sit down. We're not going to be here that long.
You sound mad.
Get your hats.
Right with you.
Where's your car?
Right out front.
All right.
What's up?
A rotten mess.
We got in the car and drove south on Figueroa till we got to West 103rd Street. According to Inspector Bowling's directions, we turned right and went about 4 miles. He directed us to pull up in front of a one-story frame residence that had been converted into small business offices. On the right side, going in, was a neighborhood jeweler's shop. We could see him working in the window. Over the door of the office on the left was a lawyer's shingle. The gold lettering was new.
It's this way.
Lawyer's office.
That's right. Name's Paul Wilson. It's me, Mr. Wilson.
Oh, come in, Inspector Bowling.
Mr. Wilson, this is Sergeant Friday. Romero, juvenile detail. I'm assigning him this case.
How you do, Sergeant?
All right.
Sergeant.
All right, look at it. Just look at it.
Look at that, Joe. Yeah. Paint. It's all over everything. Look at that leather chair. It's ruined. The desk smeared with the stuff. Green paint. Yeah. Looks like they threw it on with a mop, doesn't it? Rug soaked with it, the walls. Look, Joe. They even got the clock. Yeah.
Take a good look. Remember it when you tag whoever did it.
These your law books, Mr. Wilson?
Yes, sir.
I didn't have to do this. Poured paint all over them.
Yes, sir.
When did all this happen?
Sometime last night. Found it this way when I came in this morning.
Any idea who did it?
That's why he called us, and we're going to find out.
I don't know who'd want to do a thing like this. Just opened my office 3 days ago. Just hung out my shingle.
You just started practicing laws, then?
Yes, sir. Graduated from Loyola University Extension Division. Been looking for office space for a long time.
Was anything taken?
No. It's such a dirty, rotten thing to pull. Undoubtedly a kid.
That's pretty vicious for a kid. Can you think of any enemies that you might have had, Miss Wilson?
No, sir. No one would do a thing like this. Can't understand it. There's no reason for it that I can think of.
Crime report shows they got in the back door. Is that right, Mr. Wilson?
Well, can you come back here? I'll show you.
Okay.
Yeah, here it is, right here. See, this used to be the kitchen when this was a flat. I was going to put a hot plate in here for coffee.
Oh, yes.
You can see where they cut through the screen door.
It's all right. It's been checked.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I see. Mm-hmm. Any pass key would fit the inside door here.
Yes, sir, that's right.
You can follow the trail of that green paint right from this door all the way through the house.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'll ever get it all off. You know of any cleaners that handle things like this?
We're not allowed to recommend anybody, Mr. Wilson. If you have somebody in mind, we'd be happy to call them for you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I was going to make some calls, but I haven't got my phone installed yet.
Estimated damage about $1,800, is that right?
That's what I figure, yes. My law books are over $600 alone. Borrowed the money from the bank for the furniture.
You haven't noticed any kids in the neighborhood, none of them around while you were moving in?
No, I didn't see any. I moved everything in myself, rented a trailer, made several trips to get it all over here. Guess that was a silly thing to do.
Why?
Well, the store where I bought the furniture said they'd deliver it, but I couldn't wait to see everything in. First office, you know.
Yeah, we understand.
Well, like I said, I made several trips with the trailer, and I didn't lock the office each time I left. Didn't figure it was necessary. The fellow across the hall with jeweler said he'd keep an eye on things for me.
But you did lock up last night, didn't you?
Oh, yes. As soon as I was moved in, I locked the place at all times when I wasn't here.
That's it.
We'll get right on it.
I don't have to tell you again. I want a fast answer.
Where do we start?
With an empty paint can.
Before we left Attorney Paul Wilson, we took a sample scraping of the green paint to serve as a color check. We started to canvass the neighborhood door to door. We covered the area for a radius of 6 blocks, questioning the residents and checking out the youngsters. We failed to come up with anything. We figured another good angle was to try the schools in the area. We checked on the students who had been in any kind of trouble involving malicious pranks. We had the principals line their students up. We looked them all over thoroughly for any evidences of paint of any kind on their person or on their clothing. The few leads we found led nowhere. After a week without success, we went back and rechecked the neighborhood, the paint stores, to see if anyone had bought any green paint, anyone they might have forgotten to tell us about the first time through. No leads. Monday, April 18th, Ben and I stopped for a Coke at a hot dog stand on the corner of 103rd and Oakview Avenue. A couple of Cokes, please.
Come on, help yourself, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Here's one. I don't see any more.
There's one laying on the side. No, over there with the grape.
Oh, yeah. Let me get it for you.
Oh, thanks.
Here you are.
Good.
Every time I think of that boy's office, it makes me sick.
Yeah.
If we could just get some kind of a lead. Anything for a start. Pardon me. I'd be satisfied.
There's nothing to work on. It's like stabbing in the dark.
Joe.
Yeah?
Look down the street there. This is tin can day. Everybody's got them set out in front of their houses.
It's worth a try, isn't it?
Let's try a place across the street and then work down the block.
All right. Come on.
I had a cousin move down from San Francisco. It took him almost a year to get used to this tin can system here in L.A.
Is that so?
Yeah, up there they throw everything into one garbage can. Tin cans, no.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, sure. Tabs, my cousin, never could get used to putting the cans out. Backyard was full of them before his wife reminded him to put them out.
Yeah.
Garbage kind of piled up, too. They wouldn't pick it up with the tin cans in it.
Yeah. You want to check these here? I'll get
right.
this bunch here.
Okay. Don't see any paint cans.
No, none here either.
How about those down there?
Okay.
Let's go.
I'll get this box.
I wonder if this is any good.
What's that?
Prune juice. See a lot of empty bottles.
Any paint cans?
No. That's so.
That's the way it went. Block after block, house after house. We covered 5 blocks, checking the containers full of empty tin cans. Found a few paint cans, none of them the right color, or any combinations that would go together to make the right color. It was a tiring job, but we figured it was at least a place to start.
Sure, a lot of cans here. I must be a new bride, huh?
I don't know. Did you find anything?
No, not sure.
How about this?
Huh?
This one.
1 gallon can. Green.
Let's ask.
Yes?
Police officers, ma'am. This empty paint can belong to you?
You can have it if you want. We threw it out.
Do you have any children here, ma'am?
Yes, a boy.
How old is he?
1 year.
Would you mind telling us what this paint was used for?
We just moved here. Is there any law about throwing out paint cans?
Oh, no, ma'am. We're investigating the case. Just like to know what the paint was used for.
Did old man Boone send you over?
Beg your pardon?
Mr. Boone, the man we rented this house from?
No, ma'am.
I thought maybe it was him. He said we couldn't do any painting inside.
We don't know anything about that.
You sure? I don't trust him.
No, ma'am. You say the paint was used to redecorate?
Yes, come in, I'll show you.
Oh, thank you.
In here. See?
Yeah.
Carlos did. My husband. I told him he should have waited till Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Whose idea was it to paint the bathtub?
Carlos. He's going to night school learning English. The teacher told him the best way to learn was to speak it around the house.
Yes.
It's better for the little one, too. Well, anyway, Carlos gets paid on Saturday night. Then he stops at the little place for the fellas he works with and has a little drink. He gets his paycheck cash there.
Mm-hmm.
When he came home, he said he was going to paint the bathroom for me. I guess he felt a little good. I was in the kitchen and I yelled to him to paint around the top. Around the top, I said.
Yeah.
Like I said, he doesn't know English too good yet. We have a green tub.
I see. Well, thank you.
He's going to clean the tub next Saturday. We use the shower.
Painted that, too, didn't he?
Well, thank you very much, ma'am. We're sorry to have disturbed you.
Oh, that's all right. I'm worried about next Saturday night.
Why's that?
There's no telling what he's going to do with that paint remover.
4:30 p.m. We were no closer to finding out who spread that paint around the attorney's office than when we started. We continued checking the neighborhood, but we found nothing. A few minutes before 5, we got a call to check back in with Inspector Bowling.
You do any good out there?
Nothing at all.
We had a little action, a new one.
No, what's that?
Came in about an hour ago. Somebody poured kerosene on 3 palm trees and set them on fire. 3 trees, 3 different blocks.
Yeah?
Kept the fire department busy. Tied up the traffic for several hours. I've sent additional juvenile cars out there to cover happened in the same general area as the paint job.
Any leads?
No. Anyone who would smear paint over an office might set a palm tree on fire. Same type of gag, malicious mischief.
Think there's a connection between the two?
Well, it's anybody's guess. Paint routine's a new one, so's the palm trees. They're both one-time only shots. Maybe the two connect somewhere along the line.
Maybe. Well, it's got us stopped. We can't even find a place to begin.
We've tried everything we know. Starting again tomorrow.
It isn't going to make that young lawyer feel any better. Yep. Who? Have you taken him down to the detention room? He does, huh? All right, I'll see him. Yeah, right now. 16-year-old boy out there says he's got to see me.
Would you like to talk to him alone?
No, that's all right. You stay. Come in.
You're the chief?
My name's Bowling, Juvenile Bureau, yeah.
Could I talk to you alone?
Well, these officers work with me. Can you talk in front of them, son?
I guess so.
Well, come on over here. You want to sit down, son?
I'd rather stand if it's okay.
All right, what's on your mind?
I want to confess.
What do you want to confess, son?
I murdered somebody.
You are listening to Dragnet, actual case histories taken from official police files.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to these case histories taken from the file marked Fatima.
On this card, reporter Lee Silver's statement.
I need an extra mild cigarette. No other long cigarette I've tried is as mild as Fatima.
Here's Nurse Shirley Gilman's statement.
When I go off duty, I appreciate a mild cigarette. Fatimas are extra mild. I can enjoy them more.
On this card, the statement by drama critic Richard Watts, Jr.
Anyone can tell Fatima contains the finest tobaccos. It's extra mild, has a much better flavor.
All agree it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima, and that's what more and more smokers are discovering every day. Yes, actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. You'll agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Best of all, long cigarettes.
Next week, Thursday, August 24th, Dragnet will be heard 1 hour earlier at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time.
6 p.m. Monday, April 18th. The boy identified himself as Arnold Waterman, gave his age as 16. He told us that 2 days before at 98th Street and 2nd Avenue, he'd shot a man to death and hidden his body in the basement of a house. He was taken to the interrogation room where a police stenographer took his statement. Inspector Bowling sent Ben and I out to check his story. 9:30 p.m. We drove back to Georgia Street Juvenile and went to the interrogation room.
Arnold?
Yes, sir?
Well, these 2 men have been out at 98th Street and 2nd Avenue checking your story.
Did you find the body?
No, there's no body out there.
There should be. I put it in the cellar.
There's no house out there. It's a vacant lot. We checked all the houses near there. You sure you killed somebody?
Of course I'm sure. I stole the gun. I shot him 3 times in the back.
What'd you do with the gun?
I threw it in Westlake Park.
Where?
In the water. I rented a boat and rowed out to the middle. That's where I threw it in.
Why did you kill the man?
I don't know. I didn't like him.
Now, look, boy, you didn't kill anybody. There's nothing to back up your story. There's not an ounce of truth in it.
How do you know you haven't found the body? Just wait. You'll find him, then you'll see. I killed him, all right.
Will you show us where you hid the body?
Why should I? I told you can find it.
These men have gone over that entire area thoroughly. There's nobody out there, and you know it.
You cops are funny. When somebody won't admit a murder, you keep asking questions until they do. I'm telling you I murdered somebody, and you keep trying to talk me out of it.
If we could find one shred of proof, we might go along with you. You can't be convicted without proof.
How much do you need? You got my confession. I offered to sign it. They wouldn't let me. What more do you need?
We need a victim, Arnold.
If you knew where to look, you could find it.
We've looked every place you told us to. You're lying to us, huh? And why?
I never liked the old man. I hated his wife. I killed her, too. I wasn't going to tell you that.
Where do you go to school?
Well, I quit school to sell papers. I had to support my mother.
Where's your father?
I don't know. My mother wouldn't tell me. That's where I met the old man I killed, selling papers. He was my boss. None of us liked him. Nobody had the nerve to do it but me. The rest of the guys were scared, but not me.
What was the old man's name?
I can't think of it right now.
He was your boss.
He never told us his name. We just worked for him.
Where'd you sell papers?
I don't remember. I had to sell papers. We were going hungry. I couldn't stand to see my mother starve.
Didn't your father work?
I don't know where he is. I told you that. We tried to get on relief. They wouldn't let us. I made a lot of money selling papers. After a while, we didn't need relief anymore. I made $100 a week.
Why are you lying to us, son?
If you think I'm lying, why don't you let me go home?
We haven't anything to hold you for. You can go home.
Not until I have a trial. I already called a lawyer. He'll be over pretty soon.
I've sent for your mother, Arnold. She'll come down and take you home.
I didn't want her to know anything about this. I may have to go to the gas chamber. It would make her feel bad. You shouldn't have called her.
It's no use.
Let's go back to the office. His mother ought to be there by now.
All right.
Romero, you want to stay with the boy?
Right.
You better go out and find that body.
Come on, Joe.
I killed that old man. You can't say I didn't.
The boy's a pathological liar.
Well, it looks that way. Probably an inferiority complex.
This is the way of making himself important.
Well, we all know he didn't kill anybody, but I wonder if he's got something else in his mind, huh?
How do you do? You're Mrs. Waterman?
Yes. Inspector Bowling?
Yes, ma'am. This is Sergeant Friday.
How do you do, ma'am?
How do you do? You have to excuse my appearance. I slept a little late today.
We've got your boy down the hall. He's all right. Trying to get us to swallow a few tall stories.
Yeah, he's like that. What did he tell you?
He tried to give us a story about killing somebody.
Well, I'm not surprised. This isn't the first time. I'll never understand that kid.
Has your boy ever been in an institution, Mrs. Waterman?
No, he's not bad. He just likes to lie all the time. He's an awful liar. Went to his high school principal the other day, told him his father and I beat him. We wouldn't give him any lunch money.
Where is your husband?
He has a newspaper concession on one of the railroad trains.
How often is he home?
Oh, once a week, sometimes every 2 weeks. It's the only business he knows.
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe that's the reason the kid's the way he is. My mom always used to tell me a kid needs his father. So whenever my hubby's home, he always does the right thing. Arnold started telling these lies a long time ago, and ever since, when his father found out, he catches it.
What do you mean?
Good strapping. That's all a kid like him understands. His father knows how to handle him. Whenever he lies, he takes the strap to him.
You think that's the best way to handle him?
Don't you?
Well, you know what you're doing, Mrs. Waterman. He's your son. But if you wouldn't mind a little advice, do you mind my telling you?
No, not at all.
Well, that boy needs care, and he needs it bad. The strap's not the answer. He needs attention, good supervision, and a lot of companionship. I'm not conducting a class in child psychology, but care for that boy of yours. Care for him before the state has to.
It's just those stories he hears. That's what's wrong with him. Came home the other night with the wildest tale I ever heard.
Yes, ma'am.
Said he threw green paint all over somebody's office.
Ben and I drove out to the Waterman home. We checked through the boy's belongings. His mother showed us his room. In his closet, we found a pair of corduroy trousers, a white T-shirt, and other articles of his clothing spattered with the same shade of green paint that had been found in the office and furnishings of Attorney Paul Wilson. We asked Ms. Waterman where her son Arnold was on Sunday night, April 9th, the night that the office had been broken into and smeared with paint. She told us she didn't know, but that he came home that night with paint on his clothing. Ben and I went back to the office where we filed an application for a petition and detention, Section 700 sub M WIC, malicious mischief, 1 count. 2 days later, in juvenile court, the calendar was called. Arnold Waterman's name was first on the list. The judge, the subject, and all those concerned in the case retired to the judge's private chambers. Ben and I, Arnold Waterman, and his mother. The subject was informed of his constitutional rights, and Judge Frank J. Smith read the findings of our investigation.
Arnold, it alleges in this petition that on April 9th at approximately 8:30 p.m., you entered the office of Attorney Paul Wilson at 9218 West 103rd Street, where you willfully and without Mr. Wilson's permission did maliciously damage his office to the extent of approximately $1,800 by pouring paint over his rugs, furniture, books, and other articles in his offices. Is this true, Arnold?
Yes, sir.
Did you know Mr. Wilson?
No.
Arnold, I'd like to know why you did that.
I felt like it.
You'll have to give me a better answer than that, youngster.
That's the best I can do. That's good enough, isn't it?
No, it isn't good enough. We have a courtroom full of boys outside who probably want to be helped, and we're going to try to help them. We can't help you unless you want to be helped.
You don't want to help me. You don't believe anything I tell you.
Officer Friday.
Yes, Your Honor.
You and Officer Romero investigated this case from its inception.
We did.
As a result of your investigation, what's your opinion of this boy's truthfulness?
Well, Your Honor, I think I can speak for Officer Romero here as well. In all our talks with the boy and our observations of him, it's our opinion, for what it's worth, that the boy's a pathological liar. Basically, he seems to have the makings of a good youngster. His environment's bad. Seems to have very little, if any, parental guidance. Tells lies, Your Honor. Lots of them.
That seems to be everyone's opinion.
It's not mine. If you'd spend more time trying to find out if I'm lying instead of trying to put me on the spot, you'd earn your money.
Your stories have been thoroughly investigated and double-checked by competent police officers. There is absolutely no basis of truth in anything you've said.
I'm getting sick and tired of everybody calling me a liar. Do you hear me?
Young man, sit down in that chair. Now, we review a great many juvenile cases here in my private chambers, but that does not alter the fact that you are in a court of law. You will lower your voice, speak in a gentlemanly fashion, and tell the truth. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Waterman, could you give this court any reason for your son's behavior?
It's a mystery to me, Judge. Fred, that's his father. He can't understand it either. He's always lied. His father beats him for it. I guess he'll always lie.
That's all you can say in your son's behalf?
What else is there to say? He's a liar.
Arnold, I'm going to ask you once more. Why did you smear paint all over Attorney Paul Wilson's office?
I didn't like him.
Why didn't you like him?
I didn't like him, that's all. Tall, skinny, funny-looking guy.
You mean you destroyed his property because you didn't like his looks?
Something like that. He was cheap. I saw him moving in. He had a trailer. He was moving his own stuff in. Why didn't he hire a mover like everybody else? I don't like cheap people.
Do you know anything about this man, Wilson?
No. Why?
What business was it of yours, whether or not Mr. Wilson decided to move his own furniture? Do you know that he's a young man, not much older than you, just graduated from law school, took a lot of time, took a lot of his money that he earned to put himself through school, and you sit there, a mere sketch of a boy passing judgment on a fine young man like Paul Wilson. And, boy, let me tell you something. I don't know if you're a God-fearing lad or not, but you'd better fall on your knees and ask forgiveness and hope that somebody hears you, that he hasn't lost patience with you. You better raise up those sights of yours, lad, and pray for forgiveness. I hope those tears mean something, Arnold. Now, do you have anything to say before I pass judgment on this case?
Yes, sir, I have. I'd like to tell you about something else I did. There were some palm trees out there. I put kerosene on them and set them on fire.
Oh, Friday. Would you know anything about this?
Yes, Your Honor. That checks with the reports.
Any property damage?
No, Your Honor. Kept the fire department pretty busy. That's about all.
I didn't kill anybody. I just made that up.
Yes, we know, Arnold. Do you have anything else to add, Mrs. Waterman?
No. I don't know what else you can do with a kid. I'm glad it's somebody else's problem.
According to the findings of the probationary officers and the investigating officers and what I've heard and observed in these chambers, I have no alternative but to remove this boy from his present home and environment and place him in a foster home where he will receive closer supervision and the care that he requires. Does that meet with your approval, Mrs. Waterman?
It's fine with me, Judge. Fred and I can hardly make ends meet now, and it's a shame to waste what money we have on this kid. It's all I can do to squeeze out the new clothes I need.
Then you approve this plan?
I can't wait to tell Fred.
Well, when you tell Fred, you can also tell him the taxpayers are not going to assume the burden of the mistakes that you and your husband lavished on this boy.
What do you mean, Judge?
The expense of placing the boy in this foster home comes to the amount of $35 a month. You and your husband will pay this sum. The law covers that.
It's an awful lot of money.
The payment will be due on the first day of each month. You will meet this requirement or be held in contempt of court. I'm only sorry that's as far as the law goes. The laws of the state of California do not make the parents responsible for the torts of their children unless contributory negligence can be proven. In my eyes, it is contributory negligence on your part, but unfortunately, it cannot be proven. Any faults that this boy may have are yours. You as a parent are responsible.
We did the best we could in raising the kid.
Madam, you didn't raise him. Hearing dismissed.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On April 18th, the hearing was held in the private chambers of Judge Frank J. Smith, Juvenile Court, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. You have just heard the results of that hearing.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. The working detective in the process of apprehending criminals devotes his full time and energy to the job. His alertness, intelligence, and a great amount of patience. So with a cigarette. The makers of Fatima cigarettes employ these same qualities in blending The finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos to make Fatima extra mild. Best of all, long cigarettes. Now, if you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, then buy Fatima. You'll find, as I have, that every pack is extra mild. Smoke Fatima.
Next week, Thursday, August 24th, Dragnet will be heard 1 hour earlier at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Saving Time.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.A. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles. Now hear Sarah's Private Caper. September 7th, it's Father Knows Best on NBC.
Ladies and gentlemen, the American Broadcasting Company brings to its entire network one of radio's most unusual programs. Pat Novak For Hire.
Sure. I'm Pat Novak. For hire. That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Novak for hire. You gotta put it in block letters because down on the waterfront in San Francisco, there's a price tag on everything. You gotta do that or marry a rich widow. I don't like to work that hard, so I rent boats and do anything else that's cash and carry. Oh, it's all right if you don't mind trouble, because that's one thing you can't duck. It's like trying to dance the minuet in skis, and the best trouble always looks good from the outside. You're all smiles and feel like a kid opening a hand grenade under the Christmas tree. I found that out Tuesday night. It was around 7 o'clock. I was getting ready to close the office when this little guy showed up. He was about the size of a golf bag with arms. And if he had a cigar box, he could see over a pool table. He walked up to the desk and started talking in a voice that made you think he was trying to put Lily Pons out of work.
Hello, you Novak?
You're doing all right so far. What's on your mind?
I'm Jackie Gregg. You heard of me, huh?
You're the shy type, I know.
I'm Jackie Gregg, the jockey. You heard of me, huh?
All right, now I heard of you. Put the show on the road.
I'm looking for a horse. You want to find me a horse?
Yeah, I breed him in the back room. What color do you want?
You're so tough I gotta take that from you?
Calm down before you wind up in a boys' choir. If you got anything to sell, put it on the line or beat it.
I'm riding a horse tomorrow called Fleet Lady. She's disappeared.
She's not here.
I'm supposed to ride the 6th race with her tomorrow at the Bonanza Handicap, and she's gone.
All right, she's gone. Maybe your horse likes to go out at night. I haven't seen her. Get to the point.
I'll give you $200 to find that horse. Somebody took her in a van. I trailed her down here at the waterfront.
But you lost him up at the ferry building.
That's right. Something funny's going on. My mount disappeared, and you gotta find her.
This is a big waterfront, and where's the $200?
You'll get that all right. Down by Pier 19. The van turned in. Think you can find Fleet Lady?
I don't know. Who owns her?
Woman named Sybil Thornton. She's mixed up, I think.
Yeah. Why steal your own horse?
I don't know. Run a ringer, maybe.
That's a tough trick.
This woman's got some good ones. You want the $200?
Yeah. How are the odds?
What's the difference? You're going to open a book? You better take the $200 now.
Yeah, the dough will keep. You sound frightened, Junior.
And you sound nosy. Here's the $200. I want you to find the horse. You let me know at the Kingston Hotel, huh?
Sure.
And if you don't find anything around the waterfront, maybe you better try the track. Ask around there.
Yeah. By the way, how do you fit in? How come you got $200 interest in that horse?
Maybe I love horses. What do you care if maybe I love horses?
I don't. A guy like you's got to love something. Oh, yeah, it was a sweet proposition. A jockey in search of a horse. There was something phony about the whole thing. I had the $200, but I didn't feel good. It was like a guy stealing a murder gun to help out on a scrap metal drive. Well, after the little guy left, I closed the office and started to hit the docks, but it didn't work out. You know, you can buy good whiskey these days, so you feel funny walking up to some guy on the pier and asking, have you seen a racehorse around here, mister? By 9, I was sure the horse wasn't around, so I borrowed a car and drove out to the track. I found out where Sybil Thornton's horses were quartered and headed down that way. It was pretty dark, so when I bumped into her, all I got was a vague outline. She had a good-looking vague outline.
Oh, I'm very sorry.
Yeah, I'm full of regrets, too. Shall we try it again?
But you're a little mixed up in your animals. They keep horses here.
You don't seem to mind.
No, you lean nicely, but you'd probably feel safer with a platform.
Yeah. Well, we try this again when I've had 3 good meals. That's a horse.
Yes, I know. In fact, I own her.
I see. That'd make you Sybil Thornton.
Yes, what would it make you?
A guy named Pat Novak looking for your horse. I was hired on the waterfront to find her.
My, they grow big on the waterfront. You must get a lot of sun. By the way, is Fleet Lady missing?
Your jockey says she is. That's why I'm snooping around.
Didn't know he had any friends.
He's got a checkbook. How about Fleet Lady? Is she tucked in bed?
Yes.
Well, let's take a look, huh?
Find it very dull, Mr. Novak.
Yeah, that's what they said to Anthony. Let's see the horse.
Suit yourself. She's down this way.
Okay.
I'm doing this out of the bigness of my heart. I think you're wasting my generosity, Mr. Novak.
I don't use it all this trip.
She's in the stable. Come on. Down about here. Fleet Lady's stall. Here. There's a flashlight on the wall.
All right.
Oh, poor thing.
Do horses die broke, too? Who is it? Fleet Lady?
Yes. Are you satisfied?
No, I'm going to ring up headquarters.
You crazy.
Then I'm going to call Jackie Gregg and tell him his hunch paid off.
I wouldn't do that, Mr. Novak.
Stop kidding me, sweetheart. She didn't get killed in a fight with another horse. Gregg figured somebody was stealing the machine. That's why Fleet Lady's dead. That's why I'm going to call headquarters.
Suit yourself, but remember what happened to Fleet Lady.
You getting tough, Angel.
No. You just wouldn't look good with a saddle, Mr. Novak.
Well, I watched her as she turned and walked out of there. It was the kind of a walk that makes you flip the calendar and find out how far away spring is. I looked around a while, but it didn't do any good. The place was full of doors, so whoever killed Fleet Lady got out easy, like a rumor at a church picnic. I closed the door and went down the line to call headquarters. As I stood in there talking, I saw Sybil Thornton drive away. It was a long convertible with red asbestos seat covers. After I called headquarters, I went back and waited near the stable. About a half hour later, a police car pulled up, and when I saw who got out, I began to get unhappy like a 3-legged man in a ballet school. It was Hellman from Homicide, and he had a squad with him.
All right, I'll talk to him. Hello, Novak. Where's your trainer?
Your boys get paid to laugh at you, Hellman. I don't.
Yeah, where's the horse?
What are you doing on the case?
I came for the ride. You mind, Novak?
No, I just wondered if they wised up downtown.
Huh?
Because you could find a dead horse, Hellman. If they staked it out in the middle of Market Street, you'd find it before long.
I'll try this time. Where is it?
Stall 18 over there.
Keep an eye on him, boys. I'll be back in a minute. In here, Novak?
Yeah, the one with the teeth like yours.
You better shut up, Novak.
Don't get jumpy. You haven't seen the horse.
Just shut up, huh?
It wasn't going to be much of a conversation anyway.
What color horse was that, Novak?
What do you mean? Take a look at it.
Yeah, I did. I just took a look. It's a smart horse, Novak.
What?
That's right. That dead horse in there is wearing a double-breasted suit.
Hellman got the message straight. I walked in and took a look. Jackie Gregg was lying there on the floor as dead as last year's love. The sickness didn't show until we rolled him over on his stomach. Somebody had gone duck hunting in the middle of his back. I began to feel a little sick myself, and I was ready to send up for the same gun when Hellman started to talk.
You forgot to mention the guy when you phoned headquarters.
He wasn't there. I was in here before, and the guy wasn't around.
What was he doing under the horse?
I don't know. Hellman maybe he crawled out of a crack. I don't know. There were 2 shots. I came in and found the horse.
Yeah?
Check the horse.
You're trying to tell me the horse shot back? Who is he?
A guy by the name of Jackie Gregg. He gave me $200 to find a missing horse.
Yeah?
A horse called Fleet Lady running into Mars Handicap. This is the end of the line.
How do you know it's the same one?
I don't. Maybe you got to be a horse to tell. Why don't you ask one of your boys? Yeah, your boy's real tough. Call him off, Hellman.
He's nasty. We all hate him, Novak.
It's all right. I'll put it on your bill, Hellman.
That's good. You can write it up at headquarters.
Hellman, you ought to rent an idiot. The heavy thinking's too much for you.
I can piece this together. We come out here and find a dead man with you kicking up dust 40 feet away.
Look, Hellman, I didn't kill the guy and call up headquarters. I know they're bad in homicide, but I'm not that big-hearted.
We got a spare hook for you, Novak. That's where you stay until somebody gets you off.
And you can start out with Sybil Thornton.
Another horse?
She's got the speed for it. Look her up. She owns Fleet Lady, and she was dashing around in the dark here playing easy to get.
I'll look her up.
You better leave the boys behind, after all. She's only a woman. When you see her, ask her about that van down on the waterfront and what she was doing before I made that phone call.
I'll tag all the bases. Don't worry, Junior. And if things fit together, you'll both be in the jug. I'll see you later. I got work to do.
Yeah, it's getting late. You better put the boys back in the cage. I began to worry after Hellman left. There was no murder gun, and he didn't have too much to go on, but there was no one else wanted my job. Oh, I knew the girl was going to have an alibi. I was the last guy that Jackie Gregg had seen. I had about as much chance as a fat girl at a Princeton prom. Hellman didn't like me, and he was a smart cop with a disposition like a ton of rhubarb. Well, I had to start right from scratch. I felt like Adam the first morning he woke up. So I looked up a guy named Jocko Madigan, an ex-doctor and a boozer who would give you a lift if you show him where the stirrups are. Oh, he's a good guy, but he thinks all food makes a gurgle. I hit all the bars and finally found him up at Maggie Nielsen's apartment. She's a good-looking voice that lives up on the hill, and Jocko was working his way into her liquor supply.
Hello, Patsy. You're just in time to join me for my first drink of the evening, or one of my first, at least.
Yeah, I see.
Maggie's not here, but I found her whiskey. It was in plain sight, locked in the closet under some newspapers.
All right, Jocko, when are you going to sober up?
Oh, I plan to do it briefly on April 1st, when the rest of the world plays the fool also.
Look, I'm in trouble, Jocko. You got to help me.
Good. I've a special bottle I use to forget your troubles.
Now, look, stop caressing that jug and listen to me. I'm in a jam.
Patsy, there's nothing in nature so sad as a half-empty bottle. It's like a broken vow or an unfulfilled promise in the skies. A falling star, almost.
All right, Jocko.
A falling star, and you shrug it off, never realizing that a whole world is ended at that moment.
Yeah.
100 million dreams, maybe, and you watch it fall and make an asinine wish. That's all the good it does a star to fall. It gives some kid a chance to wish for a bicycle.
You all finished now, Jocko?
Yes. What kind of trouble? Anything I could aggravate?
I'm mixed up out at the track. A guy by the name of Jackie Gregg is dead, and I don't look good.
Oh, Hellman?
Yeah. The guy's a jockey, and he hired me to find a horse named Fleet Lady.
Did you?
The horse and the jockey ran a dead heat, but there's something funny about the whole deal.
Did you talk to the jockey?
No, not enough.
Oh, Patsy, you've got to break yourself of the habit of waiting until people are dead before you think of a question.
Jocko, I want you to hit all the horse rooms. Find out what you can about the 6th race tomorrow. It's the Bonanza Handicap. Now, hurry up, will you?
If it's the 6th race, why can't we wait a while?
Start now. Get everything you can and call me. I'll leave a message at your place.
Where are you going?
I don't know. Maybe up to see the girl.
Oh, Patsy, you're going to be waving at the hangman's wife when they spring the trap door.
I gotta see her. She owns Fleet Lady.
Well, why don't I see her?
She's got a stake somewhere, and I got a lot of questions. What could you do up there?
Ah, yes. If it weren't an academic question, I'd argue the point.
Oh, it looked like a bum deal right from the start.
Patsy, you have the instinct for recognizing trouble, but not the intelligence to duck it.
Save your breath, will you?
You're like a man walking under a scaffold on a building. You realize it may crash down and kill you, but instead of hugging the building where you can't get hurt, like every other dope, you scurry for the edge of the sidewalk where you're bound to get hit if it falls.
Jocko, will you get out to those horse parlors? I need facts, not fables. Now, give me a hand.
All right. Give my love to Fleet Lady.
Her name's Sybil Thornton.
I'll bet I'm not far wrong. Good night, lover.
After I left Jocko, I went to the Chronicle morgue and looked up the NBC program director, Paul Stangl. We pulled out the clips on Sybil Thornton. They were nice and fat because she'd been to Reno 4 times and hadn't broke training for years. She'd been traded around more than a Red Sox pitcher. The clipping said she was 32. Well, there were a lot of pictures. And from her eyes, you got the idea she was around 35. But there were arguments the other way, too. Well, there weren't any stories on her for the last few months, just a few items from the columns. They all said the same thing. She was hitting the night spots with a gambler named Rudy Hauser. There were pictures of him, too. Now, he would have looked good in a cave with heavy curtains. I asked Paul. He said Hauser had a gambling place out on Geary, so I took a cab out there. For $10, the guy at the door said Sybil Thornton had left the place an hour ago. That made me feel good. When Hauser opened the door to his office, I lost the glow.
Yeah? What's with you?
I got a problem.
You got the wrong door.
Well, you can't get any tougher, so I'm coming in.
Suit yourself. I never throw anybody out until I'm sure they've lost all their money. What's on your mind?
A horse named Fleet Lady. She disappeared at 7 o'clock tonight.
You check under the rug, I'll try the cabin.
She got back just in time to greet somebody's gunsel.
If I say no, will you go out and lose your money like a good boy?
Fleet Lady was owned by a gal named Sybil Thornton. The columns say you're number 5 on her list.
Well, they never lie. The whiskey's too good.
Also, a little bird says she was in your office an hour ago.
That's right. She said your name's Novak.
Yeah.
Next time you got a bombshell, give it a test run.
With Fleet Lady dead, your money's going to look real good in the 6 tomorrow.
Well, it makes you think the gal would throw a race.
For the same reason she goes out with you?
Huh?
When a gal takes a Great Dane like you out in public, it generally means the guy's a few bucks ahead of her.
You want to fight the team now, Novak?
Mm-hmm.
And just remember, sometimes you can't be right and a gentleman, too.
Yeah. I hope that's the way you feel when they pick you up for Jackie Gregg's murder.
Huh?
Oh, you do a real nice double take, mister. The jockey checked out with a horse.
I didn't know that, Novak.
Yeah, with no brains, you built this gambling club.
I didn't know he was dead. If I told you that, Novak, I meant it. It was all right for a little punk. I'm sorry he's dead.
So's he. I'll see you later, Hauser. I got to nose around and find out where you were tonight.
Yeah. You seem all right, Novak. So I'll tell you. If you got any dough left when you leave my table, it's bet it on a horse named Fleet Lady in the 6th race tomorrow.
Do you always bet on a dead horse?
You got the tip. Use it or bury it, but don't loan it out.
Oh, the case was a regular grab bag when I walked out of Hauser's office. I began to tick off the things that didn't add up. First on the list was that van down on the waterfront. If it was Fleet Lady, who got shot in the stable? If it was the ringer, that meant Fleet Lady would run tomorrow. Oh, I couldn't figure out why Hauser was so sure she'd win. An idea kept racing around in the back of my mind like an ant in a cookie factory. Jackie Gregg lied about that van down on the waterfront, but why? Not to bail me out of the poorhouse with $200. Oh, I got part of the answer when I stopped with the pay telephone and called Hellman.
Yeah, Hellman talking.
This is Novak. I got some news.
You'll have to put it on the back page.
What do you got?
Your friend Jackie Gray had some love life.
Well, there's a chance for you, Hellman. Who's the girl, Sybil Thornton?
Yeah, we found her picture in his wallet, the gooey kind.
I bet you stole it for long train rides. What time did he die?
The right fit for you between 9 and 10 o'clock. 2 shots from a .32 caliber pistol.
How about the horse?
45 caliber.
2 people. It's getting involved.
Maybe, maybe not. You got 2 hands, Novak.
Look up a guy named Rudy Hauser. He's got a joint out on Geary Street.
I got enough friends. You look him up.
I did. He's still talking about Fleet Lady and tomorrow's race.
All right, maybe he's sentimental. Look, Novak, I'll pick out my own work. I don't need free help from you. Jackie Gregg paid $200 and look what he got.
Suit yourself, but Rudy Hauser and that gal are close friends.
Yeah?
Like 2-part harmony in a telephone booth. Get off the dime, Hellman. Hauser's got that gal in his hip pocket. She owns Fleet Lady, and he's betting her to win.
You're trying hard, Novak.
It's got to be a slow field to lose to a dead horse. Wake up, Hellman. You couldn't smell a rat in a basement full of cheese.
I did all right in your apartment.
Huh?
That .32 caliber pistol, we found it in your place. See you later.
Well, I wasn't too worried about that. Hellman's smart enough to know a phony plant. I began to think about that .32 caliber pistol. It's a woman's weapon. Well, that doesn't prove anything. So's a bread knife if she's in a bad mood. Must have been about midnight when I got to Sybil Thornton's place. She was wearing black lounging pajamas tied tight around a slim waist. She looked like a wasp with a nice sting, and she had company.
Come in, Mr. Novak.
Yeah?
Mr. Novak, this is Ronnie Stark.
Hello, Novak.
Well, he's not very friendly, Sybil.
He's just pouting because they're going to arrest him for Jackie's murder.
How do you like Hellman?
You've known him longer.
Yeah. Somebody left the murder gun up at my place. Where you been all night?
Please, Mr. Novak, you're embarrassing Ronnie.
That's right. I'm blushing, and it's not the whiskey, Novak.
I see.
You must stay longer, Ronnie.
She's persuasive, huh, Novak? See you tomorrow.
You won't forget, Ronnie.
Oh, I won't forget. I'm betting on you, Novak.
What won't he forget?
Mr. Novak, I hope nobody ever asks you that question.
You don't want to talk about putting that gun in my apartment?
No.
Let's talk about Rudy Hauser, then. Your meat grinder friend. We just had a good talk, and he opened up a new road.
What'd you tell him?
Don't break a spring. He's all right.
Will you do me a favor, Patsy?
Like not talking to Hauser anymore?
That's right. Won't do you any good, Patsy. It'll do me a lot of good.
How's he going to know which horse got killed? I'll bet you lied to him, Angel.
It's my apple cart, Patsy. Leave it alone.
Sure. But play your hand right, baby. Because I'm going to watch your cards. And if you got one that says Jackie Gregg, I'm going to call you the hard way.
Patsy, you nice beast. I really think you would. Sit down.
Yeah.
A drink?
No,
Do you good.
not right now.
Well, you've read the book.
Just a couple of chapters.
I bet they're the right ones.
You better watch out, baby. I may be a long shot.
Well, you care as long as I bet.
I don't.
That's good. I didn't think you'd mind.
Aren't you beginning to crowd the beachhead?
Don't be a sissy, Patsy. You can't live forever.
All right, Angel. It's time to wire the folks.
Mr. Novak, just wait until you know me better.
That's for me. I left the number.
It's your fault, then.
Yeah.
Hello, Patsy.
What'd you find out, Jocko?
Not much. Nobody seems to care about the sixth race.
I care about it.
Oh, that's because you killed one of the jockeys. The rest of the people have a more casual interest.
How do the odds run?
Oh, no heavy favorites. Thin Air and Sleepy Time Gal figure to be the best at around 5 to 1.
What about Fleet Lady?
Down the line somewhere. I talked to one fellow. He says she's a dog and couldn't beat a paralytic goose over 100 yards.
Yeah, what else?
Well, that's all.
What do you mean, that's all? Start digging, Jocko. We're not getting any place.
Not even at your end?
Huh?
I counted on you to do better than that. Good night, lover.
On the way home, I bought the morning papers. There was no story on Jackie Gregg, no details, and most of the story was a statement by Hellman on Hellman. There was no mention of Fleet Lady, and at 1 o'clock in the morning, there was nothing I could do but roll into bed. I woke up about 9, called Jocko. It was like sending a message out to the Farallones by Indian Runner. He just muttered and said he'd meet me out at the track. Well, I had to have some more dope, so I called Ira Snow. He calls the races and bets on them. The way he does it, a horse is a real beast of burden. He was playing elf when I got him on the wire.
Yeah,
Ira, this is Novak. What do you know about the Bonanza Handicap?
it's a horse race.
Now, you're funny. What about the field? Are the horses any good?
For hamburgers, maybe. Nothing else.
How about Fleet Lady?
Eastern track. Nobody knows.
Would she be worth a heavy plunge?
Yeah, if you want to be a monk. What's this all about?
Ira, I'm in trouble. How about a fix? Could they run a ringer in on Fleet Lady?
Yeah, it's been done before, but it ain't easy.
That's what I figured. How's Rudy Hauser on horses?
He ain't. He got burned a long time ago. He never bets.
Well, I think you're wrong.
Look, Novak, I know every guy in town that's got the itch. Rudy Hauser, no.
You know a guy named Ronnie Stark?
Sure, he runs a book. Why?
Nothing. May see you at the track. I'm going to make a bet.
Yeah, I'll tell the horses.
Well, that left me in a hole. If Ira was right, Rudy Hauser on Fleet Lady didn't make a bit of sense. I got out to the track about 2:30. Jocko was there, and Hellman was wandering around up in the grandstand where they couldn't push him into a starting gate. Sybil Thornton waved from her box as I walked by to get a better shot at the starting line for the 6th. They were almost at the post when Jocko came back from the betting window.
Well, Patsy, I bet $2 on a horse called Scotch Victory. It seemed like a good omen.
Yeah.
I saw your friend Rudy Hauser at the window.
Huh?
He was pouring money down on the favorites to win.
Well, that's why the odds have gone down on Vin Air and Sleepy Time Gal. Look at that board, will you?
Yeah, Fleet Lady's gone all the way up to 12 to 1.
Yeah, from 8 to 1. All the way up.
Maybe the word got around she's dead.
No, That's the funny part. She's down there. See, number 3 on the rail. Not a peep out of anybody.
Is going to the front by 1 length. Sleepy Time Gal by a head. Fleet Lady between horses is running third by 1 length. On the outside, it's Thin Air and Old Soldier. Going into the clubhouse turn, it's Hot Weather by 2 lengths. Sleepy Time Gal by a half length. Fleet Lady is moving up on the outside. It's Thin Air fourth by 1 length. And Old Soldier. Down the back stretch, it's Hot Weather by 2 lengths. Fleet Lady moving up on the outside is now second by 1 length.
She runs well for a ghost.
Yeah.
Rudy Hauser'd better hurry up or he won't see much.
What?
He better hurry. He left the track 10 minutes ago.
Huh? Are you sure, Jocko?
Yes, I heard him tell someone he had to make a phone call just before the betting closed.
Well, Jocko, you're a sweetheart.
Oh, I like to think.
Come on, let's go to that stable.
The race isn't over.
It was over 5 minutes ago.
Well, how about my $2?
Come on, will you? There's only one person who won't try to fix a horse race. That's a horse. Well, I knew there was going to be trouble fast. The horses were just coming under the wire when I waved to Hellman and started for the stable. When we got there, Sybil Thornton was clearing out like a fire sale.
I'm in a hurry, Patsy, darling. Let me by.
Now, you made a bad play, Angel. Stick around.
Let me by, Patsy.
You heard him, lady. Stick around. Thanks, copper. I'll take charge.
That's a big gun, Hauser.
I got a big beef. You let me drop $100,000, Sybil.
It's your idea, Rudy.
Not this way. You let me drop $100,000 because you ran Fleet Lady.
The program said Fleet Lady, and that's who ran.
I brought those odds into line at the window. My other Eddie looked bad on Fleet Lady. You didn't stay to watch her trail the field.
All right, I didn't stay. You lost your $100,000. You killed the ringer. You were a smart big shot who was going to sew up the race.
You ran Fleet Lady and cost me $100,000. All right, cop, I'll move away from her. Over this way, Sybil.
No. Don't let him do it, Patsy.
I want to see how tough you are.
Come on, Sybil. Let's you and me move against the stall.
Watch out, Hauser.
You're backing into the horse. Grab the horse, Novak. He's going to trample him.
You grab him. It's your idea.
Dan.
Yeah. You should have learned the first time you can't beat the horses.
That's a bum joke, Novak.
I guess it is.
Now that we're all here, who do we book for Jackie Gregg's murder?
I'll answer that, friend.
Who's this guy?
It's one you missed, Hellman. Hello, Stark.
I know, Novak. Well, what are you waiting for, Sybil? Tell the man you killed Jackie Gregg.
Had enough trouble today, Ronnie.
You got more coming. Well, you figured it out yet, Novak?
Hauser dumped his $80,000 on you.
That's right. It's a lot of spending money.
Wait a minute. Ronnie, I don't like this.
Oh, you get your half, baby. I'm going to write out an IOU. When they book you for murder and the vote's in, you can't use it.
You wouldn't do a thing like that, Ronnie.
A dead girl can't spend $40,000. She killed your guy, Copper, and tried to palm it off on Novak. I was there, so I'll testify.
Ronnie, you're a no good guy.
Don't be silly. I love justice. A booker for murder, Copper. I want to tear up that IOU.
Well, Hellman finally worked it out. Started out as a fixed race, and when they were all through, it was up to the horse. Rudy Hauser put the squeeze on Sybil for some dough. She offered to run a fast ringer in place of Fleet Lady, so Hauser could pick up a bag full. Rudy just wanted to make sure, so he sent one of his boys around to knock off Fleet Lady. Only the guy killed the ringer instead. Well, that was a break for Sybil. She made a deal with a bookie named Ronnie Stark to take all of Hauser's bets and guarantee him that Fleet Lady couldn't win because she wasn't that good a horse. It panned out that way. She let Hauser think Fleet Lady was dead. He spent the $20,000 at the window pushing up the odds on Fleet Lady and dumped another $80 on her to win. The moving van? Well, that was a phony story Gregg used to get me to scare Sybil. He wanted in on the deal. He went back to the stable that night, got in a beef, and she killed him. She had him out in her car. When I went to make that phone call, she figured it was a good way to pass the buck. Well, Hellman asked only one question. Why would a nice, tame horse go crazy and trample a guy to death? Jocko had the answer. The horse that killed Hauser was a filly.
The American Broadcasting Company has just brought you the fourth of a new series, Pat Novak For Hire, starring Jack Webb. Pat Novak is produced and directed by William P. Rousseau. Jocko Madigan is played by Tudor Owen. Inspector Hellman is played by Raymond Burr. Music was composed and conducted by Basil Adlam. In our cast were Virginia Gregg, Tal Avery, Stacey Harris, Hugh Thomas, and Carlisle Bibbers. This program is being released to our servicemen and women overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Be with us again next week when over most of these same ABC stations we will bring you Pat Novak For Hire. This program came to you from Hollywood. Now, a listening reminder. Tonight, don't miss Jane Wyman when she guest stars and explains how she created her unforgettable role as the deaf-mute in Johnny Belinda. Hear Jane Wyman tonight on this ABC station. This is ABC, the National Broadcasting Company.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names and locations have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. You answer an early morning call. A police officer on patrol duty disappears. Any attempt to contact him by car radio fails. Your job, find him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild, to give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, June 4th. It was sultry in Los Angeles. We were working the early morning watch out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. It was 6:45 a.m. when we got to the Imperial Highway. San Pedro cutoff.
All right. Friday and Romero?
Yeah, that's right.
Pete Sutton, Sheriff's Department.
How are you?
Hello.
We got here as soon as we could.
Inspector Bowers fill you in?
Yeah, Ed Baxter in Central Homicide told us to check with Bowers at the sheriff's office. And Bowers directed us to come out here and lend you a hand.
This thing happens so close to the county line, they figure both departments ought to go to work on it.
Sure, glad to have you. Looks like a tough one.
Is this the highway patrol car the missing officer was assigned to?
Yeah. This is just the way we found it. We turned off the ignition. Motor was running, lights were on. Must have been idling quite a while. The temperature was up pretty high.
When did you find it this way?
45 minutes ago. Missing patrolman's name is Eugene Brewer. State Highway Patrol called the Sheriff's Department a little before 6 a.m.
Told us the missing officer wasn't acknowledging his radio call. I talked to Mark Benson.
Is the radio all right?
We checked it. In fact, it was operating normal when we found the car. Mike was out of the bracket, laying on the seat there.
Yeah. Any ideas?
No signs of struggle. No blood stains.
This asphalt here.
No footprints anywhere. Nothing on the shoulder of the road.
You said the car was running?
That's right.
That eliminates any engine trouble.
Yeah. No, there's more to it than that. Gotta be.
Nobody has any idea why or when he left his car.
You've got it all. You know as much as we do.
What was the check on Brewer?
Mark Benson says he's one of their top men. Been with Highway Patrol for 8 years. Good record all the way.
Have you talked to anybody around here?
Pretty remote spot out here. A lot of truck gardens, that's about all. My partner, Dave Terry, turned up one man. Maybe he's got something. That's him over by our car.
Hey, Dave, would you send him over here, please?
Who is the fellow?
One of the farmers. Works at truck garden out here. Name's Henry Taniguchi.
Lieutenant Sutton?
Yes, sir. Mr. Taniguchi, this is Sergeant Friday in Romero.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yes, sir.
I know you filled my partner in, but would you mind going over it again for us?
Oh, all right. I can tell you very little. You know, we start work early in the garden.
Yes, sir.
Conrad, a fellow I work with, Conrad Ishikawa, we started in the string beans about 5 o'clock this morning. Pin patch near Imperial Highway.
Yeah.
We noticed a headlight stop off the side of the road. This happened all the time along the highway, but this stayed very long.
Mm-hmm. About what time did you notice this, Mr. Taniguchi?
Must have been 10 minutes past 5. I remember asked Charlie Fujikuni, our cultivator man, what time was.
I see. Did you see or hear anything out of the ordinary?
Oh, no, sir. We wait a while, and headlight do not move. Conrad and I decided maybe somebody was in trouble. This highway quite deserted early morning hour.
What'd you do then?
We walked up to see what was wrong. When we get close, we could see was state highway car, so we know everything all right.
Mm-hmm. Did you see the officer in the car?
Oh, no. Door was open on the other side. We thought maybe officer investigate something down in the brush.
Did you see him down there?
Oh, no. We just think he was check up something. So we go back to work.
You saw nothing out of the ordinary, nothing unusual?
No, we don't. We hear the radio play. We know everything okay.
That checks out. The radio was functioning when we got here.
Mm-hmm. You didn't notice any other cars around anywhere, did you?
Oh, no, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Taniguchi. Here's my card. Appreciate it. If you think of anything else, please let us know.
Oh, yes, sir, I will. What happened to officer in this car?
We don't know.
Oh, he's all right. Probably look for somebody.
Well, that makes us even. We're looking for him. Monday, June 4th, 8 a.m. According to our instructions, we headed back to the Hall of Justice to check in with Inspector Gordon Bowers and Captain Garner Brown of the Sheriff's Department. They were coordinating the search for the missing highway patrolman, Eugene Brewer. Inspector Ed Backstrand, Central Homicide, was helping out. To the peace officer, cooperation with all branches of the various law enforcement agencies is essential. Each man on the force knows the value of a coordinated effort. He knows that without the aid of the many divisions of law enforcing bodies in his city and county, the task of maintaining law and order would be a total failure. The local officer depends on the men in the federal, state, and county departments as they depend on him. Without this coordination, no one department could survive. 8:25 a.m., we met with Inspector Bowers and Ed Backstrand in the sheriff's office.
Nothing, huh? Nobody saw him.
If somebody did, we haven't found him, Inspector Bowers.
We both figured the only thing to do was to ask for cooperation of the newspapers. We got it.
Pretty good layout, huh?
There's stories in every morning edition in town. They're running a picture and full description of the missing patrolman.
Well, we talked to everybody we could find in the general area out there. We worked 2 hours at it. The spot where the patrol car was found is pretty remote. A couple of gas stations, some vegetable gardens.
We told you about the Taniguchi fella. Checked all his friends that worked with him. They couldn't add anything.
Maybe the newspapers will turn up something. I sent a special detail out there to fan out and search the entire area, 5 square miles.
Yeah, it'll take time. There's nothing else we can do.
No, there's nothing more we can do. There's nothing anybody can do until we can show them the patrol cars how to carry 2 men.
Nobody seems to be able to do anything about it.
Maybe they will now. Sending one officer out in a patrol car is like trying to run a trolley line with 1 man. How many cases can you remember in our department? Ed Dudman, Pulled the car over in Dogtown at 3 o'clock one morning.
I remember.
Driver turned out to be a guy with a record. Deadman couldn't know that. While he was making out the traffic ticket, the guy shot him down in the street. Deadman died before he could get help.
Yeah, we do a lot of griping in the detective division, but those men in the patrol cars and the motorcycle boys, they get the dirty end of the deal for sure.
You bet they do. When a detective is sent out on a job, he knows who he's after, what he looks like, what he can expect when he finds him. The boys in the patrol cars answer a call, a 390, a 415, a 507. Sure, we know what they're supposed to be, but how often do they turn out that way? Prowler, a peeping Tom? How many times do they have a gun in their pocket? How many cops do they kill every year?
We've all been through it. We know what it is.
Yeah, but how often do we think about it when we're griping on stakeouts? Let me tell you something. This goes for me as well as you. Let's not forget who the real cream of the force is, the backbone of any police department. Men on wheels.
No question there, Skipper.
Sorry, I didn't mean to make a speech, but when something like this happens, it gets to me. The riding on short odds as it is. There ought to be 2 men in every patrol car.
Well, we should have been somebody else with Brewer. The guy on the job just doesn't disappear without a trace.
It's just what he's done. We've checked everywhere, everything. Excuse me. Powers. Who? Yeah, send him right in. This might help. Truck driver by the name of Nat Wolf. Says he's got something for us. Come in. Mr. Wolf?
Yes, sir.
Come in. Mr. Wolf, Inspector Backstrand, Sergeant Friday, and Romero.
Hi.
How do you do?
Hi. I saw the story in this morning's Times. I don't know if what I got's worth anything, but I figured I'd better pass it along to you guys.
Something on the missing highway patrolman?
Well, I don't know. The reason I'm here, maybe it's just a coincidence, but I gave a fellow a hand earlier this morning out on the Imperial Highway, not far from where the paper here says the empty patrol car was found.
About what time was that, Mr. Wolf?
Oh, around 4:30 this morning.
You want to tell us about it?
Yeah. I'm an independent trucker. I haul topsoil for different nurseries. Stuff out there on Imperial's good rich stuff. We dig it right out the side of the hill.
Yes, sir.
Well, I just loaded up, and as on my way back to town, this fellow flags me down. Said he'd had a flat, pulled out on the shoulder of the road to fix it. Said he didn't know it was sand. After he'd fixed the flat, he found out he stuck. He couldn't get his car.
You gave him a hand, huh?
No, not with the flat. He already had that fixed, but I towed him out.
I see.
That's how I became suspicious of this fellow.
How do you mean?
Well, I offered to get out and hook up the tow chain. He said, no, just stay in a cab. I figured if he could do it alone, it was all right with me. Well, I pulled him out. But here's the funny part.
Yes, sir?
The chain got a kink in it from the weight of the pull. It's no mean job to handle that alone, but he says, no, he'll do it himself. It seemed to me like he didn't want me to get a good look at him or his car. I could be wrong, but, well, that's the way it struck me.
Did you notice anything?
Yes, I did. For one thing, I got a look at him when I threw on my backup lights and his car. That's a real funny one.
What do you mean?
Well, this is a fairly new car. I'd say no older than last year's model, a Plymouth. Well, at the risk of sounding completely nuts, I'm going to tell you that car looked like it had just been painted.
There's nothing wrong in that, is there?
Well, there is if you're off on the side of the road that time of the morning throwing cheap black paint all over a fairly new car. If he's using a spray gun, I could understand part of it.
What's that?
It was his license plate. Front one. It was all painted over. You couldn't read any of the numbers.
Mm-hmm. What led you to believe he just finished painting his car?
Oh, his hands and arms and all of his clothes.
Oh, I see.
It's that kind of paint you put on the rag, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I don't know. Was it worth bothering you guys about?
You bet it was, Mr. Wolf. I can't tell you just what it means now. Maybe it doesn't mean anything, but certainly it's out of the ordinary and worth reporting to the police.
Well, I hope so. I'd like to see you boys find that missing officer. Something's pretty rotten in Denmark about that one, huh?
Maybe we found a hole.
Maybe.
Friday, I'd like to have you and Romero help out in the next step.
What's that?
Throw up a roadblock.
10:30 a.m. Before we left the sheriff's office, the truck driver, Nat Wolf, gave Inspector Bowers a description of the man in the Plymouth sedan. Together with Lieutenant Pete Sutton and Dave Terry, we drove to the Imperial Highway. Nat Wolf showed us the spot beside the road where he towed the man. The area was checked and sample scrapings of the black paint were taken. There was no chance of taking a tire impression because of the loose sand in the area. All physical evidence was taken back to the crime lab for analysis. Nat Wolf returned to the office to check through mug books for possible identification of the man he helped out. Meantime, a special detail of men continued to search the area where the missing patrolman had disappeared. 3 a.m. According to instructions, a roadblock was established at the spot where the abandoned patrol car had been found. Imperial Highway, San Pedro Cutoff.
Los Angeles. 11A, Kristen Springs, 118.
Police business.
Yes, sir.
Wonder if you could help us out.
Certainly.
You travel this highway every night, ma'am?
Yes, I do. I'm in the vegetable business.
Did you come this way last night about this time?
I run pretty much on schedule. Yes, I did.
Did you notice anything unusual along the highway?
I bet I know what this is about. That missing highway patrolman.
Yes, ma'am. We're stopping everybody to see if they can give us any information that might help us out.
Oh, I wish I could, but I didn't see a thing. That poor fella. Do you think you'll find him?
We're trying awful hard.
Sorry, I can't help you. Can I go now?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
How'd you do?
Nothing.
What time you got, Joe?
Almost 4.
Got a little more hot coffee in that jug. You want some?
It's fine with me.
Here we are. Cuts in the lid here. Ben, Joe?
Thanks, Lord.
Watch your fingers. It's hot.
Yeah.
It's good.
I'll take this one. I'm going to put my coffee on the fender here. Don't knock it off, huh?
No worries.
Thank you.
Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute, fella.
Can you see my light?
I haven't even got a cigarette.
I mean my flashlight.
I got a cigarette lighter if that'll do you any good.
You've been drinking, haven't you?
Yes, I have. I never get drunk, but I've had a little drink.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to ask you to pull over to the side of the road.
Okay. What happened to my car? It's broke.
You better let me do it, huh? You want to slide over a little bit there?
I never pick up hitchhikers.
No, I'm just going to move your car off the side of the highway now.
Any trouble, Joe?
No. 502. We'll have to hold him a while.
We'll tell your friend to get in, too. It's a sedan.
We're not going far.
Where are we going?
Right here.
Is this the road to Pismo Beach?
No, sir, not this one.
Well, that dirty little Ernie, he lied again. He hates clams.
What's that?
I've been trying for 5 months to get to Pismo Beach for a bowl of clam chowder. I haven't made it yet.
All right, you just sit here a while and sober up, will you? I'm going to hold on to your keys. I'll give them back to you. You haven't got a bottle in the car, have you?
No, I never drink and drive. Alcohol and gasoline do not mix.
Yeah. You drive this road every night?
Every night. And he keeps telling me to take me to Pismo Beach. I love clams.
You just sit here and sober up.
Happy drunk?
Yeah, he's too drunk to drive.
Yeah, getting along towards daylight.
Where'd I put my coffee?
Oh, I put it over here, Joe. Afraid we knocked it off.
Oh, thanks.
This one's mine.
Hey.
You seem to come in bunches. You get 2 or 3, and then you wait for an hour.
You know, they don't use this highway much since they put through that alternate, you know.
Police business. Yes, sir? You travel this highway every night about this time?
Once in a while. Haven't been over this way in a week.
You didn't drive this way last night?
No, sir, I didn't. Anything the matter?
Routine check. Thank you very much. You can go on. Nothing.
Yeah. Well, it looks like a hopeless job, doesn't it?
Business is picking up. Here comes another one.
Looks like one of your sheriff's cars, Pete.
Yeah. Reynolds, homicide.
Pete Sutton?
Yeah, Reynolds.
You can pack up. They found him.
Is he all right?
2 bullet holes in the back of his head.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of Northwest Airlines stewardess Jean Madison. You'll see her picture in leading magazines this week. Now, her actual signed statement.
There's one thing I really look forward to after a long flight, a good, mild smoke. That's why I prefer king-size Fatima. It's milder than any other long cigarette I've tried. Yes, I agree. It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And so do more and more smokers every day. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Best of all, long cigarettes.
5 a.m. Tuesday. The body of Highway Patrolman Eugene Brewer was found half buried in a shallow grave approximately 4.5 miles from the point where his car had been found standing on the highway. The scene was roped off, photographed, measurements were taken, and the area carefully gone over for any physical evidence. A few scattered residents were again checked and asked if they'd heard gunshots. Since the nearest dwelling to the place where the body was found was 2 miles, there was a possibility that they could have not heard the shots. No one could give us any further information. The coroner's autopsy showed that Patrolman Brewer had been shot 3 times in the chest, 1 bullet directly entering his heart. He'd also been shot twice through the base of the skull. 1 p.m. Wednesday.
I get it.
Homicide, Friday.
Pete Sutton, Joe.
Yeah.
Just had a call from our Hollywood substation. Woman reported her car stolen on Sunday night. Thought the guy was going to bring it back. That's why she didn't report it sooner.
What about it, Pete?
It's a Plymouth sedan, last year's model. Same type the truck driver told us about.
Sounds good.
We already have a broadcast out on it. We're putting out an APB now. You want to check and see if they got it on tonight's hot sheet?
Right. Anything on the guy who stole the car?
Boyfriend of the woman who owned it. He left her in a restaurant and got away with her car. You remember the description of the guy the truck driver helped out Monday morning?
Mm-hmm.
The guy that stole this woman's car, it's the same.
Yeah.
Still doesn't prove he had anything to do with it.
Doesn't prove he didn't. Together with Pete Sutton and Dave Terry from the sheriff's office, we drove out and interviewed the woman whose car had been stolen. She told us that the man who had taken her car had also been seen in the company of one of her girlfriends, a Miss Helen Farrell, who worked as a cashier at a Hollywood theater. The Farrell girl identified the man as Mike Lapino, and she gave us a snapshot of him. She also gave us his last known address. We had no actual tie-in between the theft of the woman's car and the murder of Patrolman Eugene Brewer, but the circumstantial evidence made it at least worth checking out. The only car known to have been in the vicinity the morning of the murder was the car the truck driver, Nat Wolf, had reported. The same make and model car had been stolen the night before the killing. The general descriptions of the man from 2 different people tallied closely. We figured before we'd pass this lead by, we'd check it out all the way. 4 p.m. Wednesday. We met with Inspector Bowers at the sheriff's office.
We checked this Lapino's apartment, found a shirt and a pair of pants. Black paint on both of them.
I sent for that truck driver, Nat Wolf, to identify this picture here. You find anything else in the apartment?
Well, this address book, there's no local places in it. They're all Las Vegas, Nevada addresses.
That's it, huh?
Yeah. What'd you get from the record bureau on the guy?
The I Bureau pulled the package on him. That is Mama sheet.
Thank you. Mike Lapino. Spent some time at San Quentin. Armed robbery, grand theft auto, assault. Pretty good record.
We're still not positive he had anything to do with the Brewer killing, but he's got the training for it. Yeah? Send him right in. Nat Wolf.
Mm-hmm.
Come in, Mr. Wolf.
Thanks. A dirty shame about that boy. I read about it in the paper.
Yeah. Got a photograph we'd like you to look at, Mr. Wolf.
You bet. Yeah, that's the man.
You're sure?
Sure. No mistake. Hey, why do you suppose he was painting that car at 4 o'clock in the morning?
Maybe that's what that patrolman wanted to know.
We waited for an answer on the APB. 2 days passed. Saturday, June 9th. We received a phone call from the Las Vegas, Nevada Police Department. The stolen black sedan had been found in the downtown area of Las Vegas. We requested them to put a stake out on the sedan and asked them not to disturb either the car or its contents. Together with Pete Sutton from the sheriff's office, Mark Benson from Highway Patrol, and Ray Pinker of our crime lab, we flew to Las Vegas. Pinker checked the stolen car. Embedded in the rear seat were 2 spent bullets. There were also bloodstains on the seat and on the floor of the car. Pinker flew back to Los Angeles where the evidence was analyzed. The bullets found in the car were fired from the same gun as the bullets found in the body of the dead patrolman. Fingerprints lifted from the stolen car matched those of Mike Lapino. Saturday afternoon, we checked in with Chief Harry Miller, Las Vegas Police Department.
This is all you've got on him, huh, Chief?
That's most of it, yeah. Since we staked out that black sedan, I've had the town covered for Lupino.
No one saw him abandon that car, huh?
No one we know of, no. Had good cooperation from the newspapers. Story's been on page 1 since the thing broke.
Anything come of those names we got from Lupino's address book, the ones we phoned for you?
Let's see, I got the list right here. Yeah, here we are. These are the ones my men have checked out already. George Connolly, nothing there. Harry Carlson, he and his wife have been checked out, nothing there. William Spencer, nothing at his place. We've got them all staked out.
At least 2 to go, huh?
That's right. We're checking the last 2 now.
Nothing from the railroad stations, the airlines?
They've been covered ever since we got your phone call. Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think your man's still here in town.
Any reports on him?
A couple of wild ones, nothing definite. Checked them out. Had one this morning from a dealer at one of the clubs downtown. About 10:30 this morning, he saw Lupino playing the 2-bit slot machine. We showed him his mugshot. He swears it's the guy.
Yeah, all we can do now is sweat it out, huh?
My men have covered everything. I don't know what else we can do.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Sure. Chief Miller. Yeah? You sure it's him? No, don't try to handle it alone. Keep the place covered the best you can. We'll be right out. They found him.
2 Las Vegas detectives named Billings and Vance answered a phone tip from a grocerman in the east end of town. He said a man had been buying groceries from him for the past 2 days and lived in the apartment house above the store. The 2 detectives showed the grocerman Lupino's mugshot. He gave a positive identification. They then checked with the apartment house manager. After looking at the mugshot, he identified Lupino as the tenant in apartment 10B. Detectives Billings and Vance staked out the place until our arrival with enough men to cover the area.
Vance?
Yeah, Chief.
What's the story?
He's in there. Hasn't been out all day. Apartment 10B.
We'll take the front, Chief.
Manager thinks Lupino has a gun. Maid was cleaning the apartment, found some loose slugs in the dresser drawer.
You still want it, Friday?
Oh, it's our headache.
Joe and I will go in, Chief.
Right. Vance gets the men up on the roof to cover.
We've already fanned them out around the building.
I don't know what they tell you in L.A. on one of these things, but here we tell them to be careful.
Right, Chief. Joe?
Let's go. On the second floor.
Let's take the stairs here.
All right. A long way up, isn't it?
Yeah. This way.
Here we are. You cover, huh?
Yeah.
Right through the door.
Yeah, he's got 2 left.
Well, he's got another gun.
Now, let's take him. One good kick ought to get the lock.
Right.
Just a minute. Let's go, Pete.
I got it! Watch that gun, will you? Drop it!
Let it alone, Lupino.
I got it.
All right, come on, get up. You all right, Pete?
Okay. I get the cut. What's the big idea?
You tell us. You killed that patrolman.
He got tough. You didn't have to kill him. Spotted the stolen car. What else could I do? Come on, you. He had as much chance as I did.
That figures.
Yeah.
2 bullet holes in the back of his head.
The story you have just heard was true. Only the names and locations were changed to protect the innocent.
On October 2nd, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 91, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. The working detective knows that every member of his local police department is a qualified man. He knows that his fellow peace officers have been carefully selected to perform their specific duties by trial, by examination, and by results. And so, with a cigarette, the makers of Fatima carefully select and blend only the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos to make Fatima extra mild. Best of all, long cigarettes. If you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, smoke Fatima. Every pack is extra mild. Fatima.
Michael Everett Lupino was tried and convicted of murder in the first degree. The jury failed to recommend the death penalty. Lupino is now serving his life term in the state penitentiary.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Los Angeles Police Department requests the cooperation of all Dragnet listeners in the following police matter. The Los Angeles Police Department would like every and any information regarding a gun fitting the following description. .38 caliber special Smith & Wesson revolver, gold seal model. The gun has a blue steel 4-inch barrel. The serial number is 210088. 210088. If you have any information as to the past or present whereabouts of this gun, contact W.H. Parker, Chief of Police, Los Angeles, California. This is a very important matter. All information furnished will be held in strictest confidence. Thank you.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Coming up, Duffy's Tavern. 3 chimes mean good times on NBC.
The story you are about to hear is true. Only the names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all long cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to forgery detail. An accomplished check forger is at work in your city. His victims, small businessmen. You know his M.O., you don't know his identity. Your job, get him.
If you want a long cigarette, smoke the best of all long cigarettes. Smoke extra mild Fatima. Yes, Fatima is the king-size cigarette which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos superbly blended to make it extra mild. To give Fatima a much different, much better flavor and aroma than any other long cigarette. That's why Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast. Enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself. Best of all, long cigarettes.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, February 4th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working a day watch out of forgery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Elliott. My name's Friday. I was on the way home from the office, and it was 8:25 p.m. when I got to Collis Avenue. Number 4656.
Joseph, that you?
Yeah, Ma.
We're in the living room. We have company.
Oh, is that so?
Hello, Joe.
Well.
You remember Mary Fowler, don't you, Joseph?
I sure do. How are you, Miss Fowler?
Just fine, Joe, thank you. Doing some shopping out this way and thought I'd stop by and have a cup of tea with your mother.
Oh, it's good to see you. How are things in the old neighborhood, huh?
Oh, pretty much the same. Oh, Miss Daly, remember her?
Mm-hmm.
Finally died.
Oh.
I suppose it was for the best, though. I was just telling your mother. Jim and Louise Watson finally moved. Jim got a new job out by Altadena.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah. My, you certainly looking fine, Joe. Don't you wear your police uniform anymore?
Oh, my, no, Mary. Joseph's in the detective bureau now. Hasn't worn his uniform for years.
Oh, that's right. I remember now. That note you sent with your Christmas card here before last. What do you do now, Joe?
Forgery detail. My partner and I handle bum check cases.
My, that certainly must be interesting.
Have you had your dinner, Joseph?
Yes, ma'am. I stopped at a place out in Santa Monica and had something.
Yes, well, Mary brought me some nice coffee cakes. Pineapple filling. Would you like one with a cup of coffee, Joseph?
No, I don't know, Ma.
Well, you sit down in your chair there and rest yourself. You always look so tired. You have no idea how hard they work, those young fellas there.
You remember Genevieve, don't you, Joe? My oldest girl?
Oh, yeah, sure. How is she?
Oh, just fine. Lots of boyfriends as usual. Going out all the time.
Oh, that's good.
She asked to be remembered to you. I think you and Jen were stuck on each other at one time, weren't you, Joe?
Oh, we went to a couple of dances in high school. Well, I think she started going steady with another fella, didn't she?
Young girl. Never know when they're well off.
Here's your coffee, Joseph. I set it here on the end table.
Thanks. I don't think I can use it, Ma.
Delicious coffee cake. You smell how fresh it is.
Yeah, it's nice.
Oh, my, 8:45. I should have left half an hour ago.
Oh, you have to go, Mary? Seems our visits are always so short.
Well, I got a lot of ironing to do, and I have to make Carl's lunch. He's always so fussy about his lunch.
Yes, but I'll get your coat.
Well, it's nice seeing you again, Joe. Do you want to be remembered to Genevieve?
Yeah, tell her hello, will you, Miss Fowler?
If you're over our way, be sure and drop in and see us, won't you? Genevieve's home at the office by 6. She often says she'd like to see you again.
Oh, Melanie.
Oh, thanks. Good night, Joe. You be sure to come and see us now. Jen will be looking forward to it.
Okay, Miss Fowler. Good night.
Yeah, and I'll show you to the door, Mary. You remember the store in neighbors, won't you?
All right, dear. I will. You take care of yourself now. Good night.
Good night, Mary. Nice person, Mary. Having a hard time trying to find a husband for Genevieve.
Yeah. Hey, Ma, I'm not very hungry. I can't eat now.
No? Oh, it seems such a shame to waste. That's a lovely coffee cake. Then you still on the same case,
Yeah, same one.
It seems to me it's taking an awfully long time.
Well, we've been on it 2 months, yeah.
I'll never understand it. Why people write bad checks. Always get caught.
Well, it's easy living while it lasts.
Now, you know what the man's handwriting is like. Don't you know who the man is?
Well, we think so, Ma. We're not sure. There's hundreds of check men who work almost alike. Some of them even look alike. There's always a big enough field to pick from. Our problem's picking the right one.
Now, I don't know much about it, but the whole thing seems kind of silly to me.
Well, how's that?
What's this man supposed to be doing? Going around your small neighborhood stores, cashing $15 and $20 checks. Well, if he got himself a job, he could probably earn that much in one day doing good, honest work.
Mm-hmm. Say, Ben didn't call before I got home, did he?
Mm-hmm. Wasn't he with you?
Oh, he was going to interview one of the bum check victims on his way home, a grocery store owner down in Highland Park. It might be him now.
Oh, now, don't hang on that phone, Joseph. It's coffee gets cold.
Yeah. Friday talking.
This is Ben, Joe. Got a partial identification from that grocer's, nothing great.
Which mugshot did he like?
Stanley Bubeck. Grocer thinks it might have been the guy who pushed the check. He can't be sure.
33 bum checks passed. Same M.O. Not one positive identification. Something's phony, isn't it?
It's got me stopped. We know the endorsements on every one of those checks was written by the same guy. Used practically the same story on every one of his victims.
Yeah.
Those 33 people are either blind or they're kidding us.
Well, there's only one other answer.
Huh?
We're looking for the wrong man. For 2 months and 2 days in different shopping districts throughout the city, a man described as well-dressed and middle-aged had been passing worthless checks on independent neighborhood businessmen. Most of the victims were proprietors of small shops, meat markets, liquor stores, grocery stores. In none of the cases was the check written for more than $25. With the help of the stats office and our record bureau, we've gone through the list of experienced checkmen until we found one man whose description and M.O. matched perfectly with that of the suspect. The man's name was Stanley Bubeck.
We can't locate him, Captain. Another thing, we can't get a positive identification from any of the victims.
And find a suspect they can identify. You've been tracking the guy for 2 months. What's the big mystery?
Well, we tabbed the man as Stanley Bubeck, and his record and his M.O., his description, they all tie in perfectly. Now we're not sure it's him.
What do you mean?
Well, if it is Bubeck, it's almost a sure thing that one of the victims could have made him on one of his mug shots. None of them can make up their minds.
Look, maybe one of you two'd like to be captain of forgery for a day, sit in this office and listen to complaints come in over that phone about this guy, the front office, neighborhood businessmen's clubs, retail merchants. They tell me they're troublesome and passing them on to you. Now, whoever this paper hanger is, we want it, and we want it fast.
Lousy little $20 checks. We'd probably have a lot better target if he tried something bigger.
I don't think he and 100 other checkmen like him don't know that. You won't find them stealing company paychecks and flooding the town with paper. They take it from the little guy, and they take it in small amounts, but add up those small amounts at the end of the year, and they'll scare you.
Yeah, that's the rotten part about it. None of those victims can afford a bad check.
That grocer Donnelly stands on his feet all day to net a profit of $10, $15. He gets tagged with one bad check, and he's working for nothing.
We've got bulletins out on the suspect to all the small businessmen in town. They've all been alerted.
Excuse me. Captain Elliott. Yeah, okay, Don, right away. Don Myers. He went over the handwriting of those last 3 checks, wants to see you.
Okay.
How about that special bulletin you got out to the prisons on Stanley Bubeck? Any replies?
Nothing yet, Skipper.
All right, stay on it.
Right, let's go, Ben.
It's a sour deal. I'd give a right arm for a line on this guy.
Yeah. Well, it'd move a lot faster if somebody'd help us follow those checks closer. The way it's running now, we hear about the paper 2 weeks after it's been cashed.
The Bubeck thing isn't helping much. No use find another line if we get it settled.
Hi, Don.
Oh, hi. Just finished up on those last 3 checks that came in. You want to give them a look?
How do they shape up?
Well, you can see for yourself. Right here.
Yeah?
Here are the 3 I just went over.
Mm-hmm.
And here are half a dozen bad ones for cash last month. Now, the endorsements on this half dozen match perfectly.
And those other 3?
Well, I'd say they were endorsed by the same person. Now, look here.
Huh?
You can notice the capital letters. Now, he still handles them the same way. Disconnected from the other letters in the first name. See?
Yeah.
But he connects the capitals in the last name. See?
Mm-hmm.
Not very bright.
Yeah.
Not much doubt in my mind. All the other handwriting factors tie in. The form, skill, shading. They all match up. The movement, the terminals, they're all the same for my money. Yeah, here, the way he writes the lowercase letters. Yeah, that cinches it for me.
How's that done?
Well, here. The inclination of the terminal stroke on the S. See it? Degree of slant above the horizontal is just about 55 degrees in all cases.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the finger movement in his capitals have plenty of freedom. They're not shaded much.
Yeah.
Nothing like this in his lowercase letters, though, you see? Here.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean.
Not much freedom here. Lots of shading. And the pressure on the lifts. Here. They match up.
Mm-hmm.
Same on the downstroke. No, I'd say the skill is medium in all cases. Embellishments, both class 2.
No changes at all in the style?
Oh, he made the signatures look a little different. All 8 factors match up, though. It's the same person.
All we have to do is find him.
Hey, how about this fellow Stanley Bubeck? I thought you had him tapped.
Now, we're not too sure about him, but it's the only line we got to work on, so it'll have to do for now.
Mm-hmm.
Romero, the man in the office to see you and Joe. Name's Loomis.
Right, Fred. Be there in a minute.
Okay.
Well, thanks, Don. We'll check you later, huh?
Sure, okay. See you.
Let's go, Ben. How do you do? You Mr. Loomis?
Yes, sir. Sergeant Romero?
No, this is Sergeant Romero here. My name's Friday.
Oh,
How are
how
you?
do you do?
What can we do for you?
It's about these checks, Sergeant. These right here.
Well?
You see, I run a delicatessen out on Sunset, and a few days ago, a new customer came in for a few things and paid for them with these checks. He came in twice.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I got the checks back today. They're no good. I tried to look up the man at the address he gave, but there's no such address.
Mm-hmm.
You can see, one's for $15, the other one's for $20.
Yeah.
Reason I asked for you men is because I know the man who runs the drugstore across the street, George Holmquist. He had some bad checks about a month ago. He said you took care of him.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Do you recall the man who passed these checks, Mr. Loomis?
Yes, I think I do. He told me he was new in the neighborhood and he was looking for a place to trade. Well, I guess we're all anxious for new business. I took the checks.
You got those mug shots there, Ben?
Well, yeah. Here they are.
Thank you. How about these men, Mr. Loomis? Any of them look anything like the person who passed the checks on you?
No. Let's see. This one, yes, it does look like the man in a way. I don't know if I could be absolutely sure.
Stanley Bubeck, same M.O.
Beg your pardon?
Well, it looks like you're stuck with a couple of bad ones, Mr. Loomis. Probably the same man who passed checks on your druggist friend. We're doing everything we can to run this man down.
But what about the checks? Isn't there anything I can do about them?
No, sir, I'm sorry. Not right now. We would like to have you make out a crime report, if you will, and would you leave these checks with us?
Yeah.
Friday, Romero.
Here's Mr. Loomis.
Yes, just came in for you. Reply from Salt Lake City, Utah on that bulletin you sent out under Stanley Bubeck.
Yeah.
He's been in jail for 5 months.
We sent a request to Salt Lake asking him to question Stanley Bubeck if he knew of any forger who matched his description or used his M.O. Bubeck could tell us nothing. Wednesday, February 6th. We threw away the results of 2 months of investigation. We went back and started from the beginning. Despite all precautions and warnings, the checks kept coming in at the rate of half a dozen a week. The same M.O. was used. The same handwriting showed up in the signatures on the checks. Again, with the help of the staff and the statistician's office and the record bureau, we waded through hundreds of names of known checkmen and compiled a new list of 38 possible suspects. Each one fitted the general description of the forger. Each one, at some time in his forgery career, had used the same general method of operation. Well, after days of legwork, we finally boiled down the list of possibles to 3 names: George Roberts, James Young, and a Harry L. Johansson. We got out a flyer to all the small businessmen in the areas where the forger operated. Another week passed. The worthless checks kept showing up at the rate of 2 and 3 a day. On February 21st, Ben and I answered a call from a druggist in the Echo Park district.
He bought some toothpaste and a carton of cigarettes, Sergeant. Asked me to cash a $20 check for him.
Did you ever see the man before, sir?
No, he gave me the same old story about being new in the neighborhood. That's when I remembered that police bulletin the department sent me.
Mm-hmm. Do you still have that bulletin?
No, I looked it over, and then I guess it got mislaid.
I wonder if you'd mind taking a look at these pictures here.
Not at all.
These right here.
Mm-hmm. Sure. This one right on top, that's the man.
You sure?
I am. It only happened a few hours ago. Do you know who he is?
Harry L. Johansson. That's the name we have on him.
It doesn't mean anything to me. He got real huffy when I wouldn't take his check. Stalked right out of the store. Very suspicious.
Did you follow him?
No, I told Ralph, my clerk, to follow him. Ralph.
Yeah, Mr. Butler?
You want to tell these officers about that man this morning?
Oh, I followed him down the street for a block and then turned the corner. That's where I lost him.
It's too bad.
Yeah, all I got was a license number.
You are listening to Dragnet, the case history of a police investigation presented in the public interest by Fatima Cigarettes.
If you smoke a long cigarette, it will be in your interest to listen to a typical case history of a Fatima smoker.
It's the case of Northwest Airlines stewardess Jean Matson. You'll see her picture in leading magazines this week. Now, her actual signed statement.
There's one thing I really look forward to after a long flight. A good, mild smoke. That's why I prefer king-size Fatima. It's milder than any other long cigarette I've tried. Yes, I agree it's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
And so do more and more smokers every day. Actual figures show extra mild Fatima has more than doubled its smokers coast to coast.
So enjoy extra mild Fatima yourself.
The king-size cigarette, which contains the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos, superbly blended to make it extra mild.
You will prefer Fatima's much different, much better flavor and aroma.
You will agree.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
It's wise to smoke extra mild Fatima.
Best of all, long cigarettes.
September 21st, Thursday, 3 p.m. We took the license number, which the drugstore clerk had given us. We went back to the office and checked it through DMV. We found the car was registered to a Russell Burroughs on Pico Boulevard. We checked him out. He told us that he had loaned his car the day before to a friend of his. He identified the friend as Harry L. Johansson and gave us his last known address, 614 Elderwood Avenue. We got out a broadcast on the car. The Elderwood Avenue address turned out to be a single-story wooden frame house in the southern part of the city on the edge of the industrial district. It needed a coat of paint. A woman in her elderly 30s answered the door and identified herself as Mrs. Johansson. She invited us into the living room. There was a baby playing on the floor.
I don't expect my husband home for another 2 weeks, Sergeant. He's a cosmetic salesman. Travels all over the western states.
When did he leave on this last trip, Mrs. Johansson?
The first of the month. Why, is there anything wrong?
What's the name of the cosmetics company that your husband works for?
Harrington Universal. Offices are down on East Main.
Mm-hmm. Do you know a friend of your husband's named Russell Burroughs?
Yes, I do. He's kind of a friend of the family. Please, Sergeant, if there's anything wrong, I ought to know.
We talked to Mr. Burroughs this afternoon. He told us your husband's in town. Burroughs loaned him his car.
Harry?
That's silly. He's still on the road. He'd certainly let me know if he was coming back early.
You sure of that, ma'am?
Would you excuse me a minute, Sergeant? I'll have to put the baby to bed.
Certainly, ma'am.
Come on, Bonnie. I'll be back in a minute.
Kind of a funny setup, isn't it?
How do you mean?
Well, if Johansson's pushing bum checks, the money isn't going into his home here.
Wife doesn't act like she knows anything. Seems cooperative.
Afraid we're going to have to level with her if we're going to find out anything, huh?
Mm-hmm. You sure got a cute little girl.
I'm sorry, Sergeant.
It's perfectly all right. Just a few more questions.
Is it possible that your husband could be in town and you might not know it? I mean, could he be staying with a friend or some relatives?
No, if Harry was in town, he'd come home. Why would he stay with anyone else?
When did you last hear from your husband?
Last week. He wrote from San Francisco. The letter's right there on the mantel.
Oh, huh. Well, besides that letter, do you have any other samples of your husband's handwriting around the house?
Well, I think so, yes. Where did you say you were from?
Central Division, Forgery Detail.
You investigate checks, bad checks.
Yes, ma'am, that's right.
And you know about my husband?
His prison record, yes.
Harry promised me he was through with all that. He gave me his word.
Sorry, ma'am.
About a month ago, he had some extra money. He wouldn't tell me where he got it. Look, Sergeant, maybe you've made a mistake. Maybe it's not Harry at all. You're not sure, are you?
Did your husband use the phone much? I mean, for out-of-town calls, say?
No. Just that one toll call, a Long Beach number, I think. He has a business friend down there he used to call.
Do you know the number, ma'am?
I can show you. It's on last month's phone bill. Please, Sergeant, if Harry's done something wrong, he did it for us. Me and the baby. Harry's not bad.
Yes, ma'am.
He's done something. He did it for us. Harry hasn't had it easy. He wanted to get things for the baby. Clothes, a better house. All he wanted was a little happiness. A little happiness.
You got it wrong, ma'am. You don't buy it with bum checks. Before we left Mrs. Johansson, we called and had a stakeout placed on the house. And then we got a sample of her husband's handwriting and the Long Beach telephone number that he was in the habit of calling. The next morning, Don Myers in handwriting compared Harry Johansson's letter with the signatures on the worthless checks. It matched. We called the Harrington Universal Cosmetics Company. They never heard of Harry Johansson. We called that Long Beach phone number. A woman answered and gave us the address where the telephone was installed. Turned out to be a swanky, modern apartment house. In apartment 18, we interviewed a good-looking brunette. She identified herself as Harry Johansson's common-law wife. She was well-dressed, and the apartment was richly furnished.
What's it all about? What do you want, Harry?
Police business. You know where he is?
Well, what's he done?
Do you know where he is?
He drove into Hollywood this morning. Might be back tonight. I don't know for sure.
Is this your apartment?
Yeah. Mine and Harry's.
You're sure that Johansson's not here now?
Of course I'm sure. Why?
Oh, and you won't mind if we come in and look around, huh?
I have a right to know what it's all about.
Johansson's wanted for forgery. Now, if you want to get involved, you help him hide out.
I'm not asking for that kind of trouble. Go ahead and look.
Take the bedroom, will you, Ben?
Right.
Never mind, Cop. Thanks for the help, honey.
I don't want any part of your troubles, Harry. I didn't know a thing about it, honestly.
Ben?
Yeah.
You better come along, too, lady.
Well, tell him, Harry. I don't know what it's about. What's the idea of getting me mixed up in this?
How do you think I was paying for this place? Taking you out and buying us clothes for you.
I don't want any part of it. 3-room apartment, a couple of dresses. That's all he ever got me.
You got no complaints, lady.
Huh?
That's more than he bought his kids. 1 p.m. Friday. Ben and I took Harry Johansson to the county jail where he was booked for suspicion of forgery. We called Mrs. Johansson and notified her. She immediately contacted friends and relatives and raised enough money for a writ to have her husband released from jail. 3 days later, Johansson was arraigned and a date set for his preliminary hearing. After the arraignment, Ben and I took him back to the county jail for rebooking.
I'd like to ask you a question, Johansson.
Yeah?
You got any money of your own left?
Why don't you stick to your own business, Copper?
That family of yours is having a pretty rough time. Your wife borrowed every cent she could find to bail you out. Now, what's she going to live on?
She got relatives.
No, there's the elevator.
Come on, Johansson.
They're not going to put me back in Folsom. Not in 100 years.
You've done 2 stretches already for hanging paper. You should have known better, mister.
You got it all figured out, haven't you, Fuzz? Well, I'm not going back.
Take it easy. You got a couple of more weeks on bail before the trial.
Yeah. A couple of weeks.
What's the matter with you? Don't you feel well?
They won't get me back to Folsom.
You're not making it any easier on yourself. All right, Archie.
Don't you cops understand? I hate it. Every lousy bit of it. I'm not going back to Folsom. I'm not going back. Now, do you understand?
It's a good idea, mister. You remember that when you get out. We booked Harry Johansson into county jail. His bail was continued, and he was released pending the trial. During the next week, along with the district attorney's office, Ben and I helped prepare the case against Johansson. 3 days before the trial opened, we had a phone call from Mrs. Johansson. She told us that her husband had disappeared. Well, there was nothing we could do until he actually failed to appear in Superior Court at the appointed time. On Monday, April 3rd, the case of the State versus Harry L. Johansson officially opened. The defendant failed to show. A bench warrant was immediately issued, and we got out a broadcast and an APB on the suspect. Stakeouts were placed in his house and at the apartment of his common-law wife. 2 days passed. No sign of him.
Nothing, Joe. Plumley just checked it out.
Yeah. How about those 2 ex-con pals of Johansson's? Did you check with them?
Yeah, nothing there. I don't see how I can last out much longer. One suit of clothes, no money.
You still got a checkbook. When did the skipper say he was coming back?
On 7:30 tonight. 7:15 now.
I'll get it. Forgery, Friday.
Joseph, this is your mother.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Ma.
I forgot to tell you when you called earlier. You're supposed to be home tonight by 8 o'clock.
What's that, Ma?
Mary Fowler, she's coming over to visit tonight, and Genevieve's coming with her.
Yeah, well, look, will you try to explain to them that I'm working and I can't get away, huh?
Well, all right, Joseph, I'll try.
If I possibly can, I'll try to make it home by 10. Will that be all right?
Well, all right, Joseph, I'll see what I can do. Genevieve's going to be disappointed.
Yeah. If I'm later than that, don't wait up for me, huh?
Yes, all right then.
Bye, Ma.
Yes. Bye, Joseph.
Oh, hi, Skipper.
The call just came in.
Yeah?
They found Johansson.
Captain Elliott, Ben, and I drove out the highway to the Tujunga Wash. We turned off and headed into the Mount Gleason area. Captain Elliott directed us onto a dirt road. Halfway up one of the mountains, we spotted a group of cars pulled off on the shoulder of the road. We parked behind them, got out, and started over.
Who found the car, Skipper?
One of the people living back in the hills. Spotted it on his way home from work.
Coroner got here in a hurry.
Yeah. Hi, Dave.
How you doing, Joe? Captain Elliott.
How long's he been dead?
Since last night, I figure. Come on over.
You talked to the man who found Johansson's body, Dave?
Yeah, he didn't touch a thing.
What'd you find?
Powder burns on the temple, powder on the hands. Boys from homicide found the note. It's on the seat right next to him. Here it is, here. It's been checked.
Yeah, thanks.
All ties in, huh, Dave?
Pretty tight, yeah. Gene Bechtel from homicide wants to talk to you, Captain.
Okay, be right back, Joe.
Right. Who do you address the note to, Joe? His wife?
No, his girlfriend.
Look what he wrote it on.
Yeah, blank check.
The story you've just heard was true. Only the names were changed to protect the innocent.
On April 9th, an inquest was held in the coroner's office on the main floor of the Hall of Justice, Los Angeles, California. In a moment, the results of that inquest.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. The working detective comes in contact with many people in his daily tour of duty, people who are willing to cooperate and those who won't even try. It's a difficult task, but the police officer has been trained to try to please everybody to the best of his ability. So with a cigarette, the people who make Fatima try to please all long cigarette smokers. They carefully select and blend the finest Turkish and domestic tobaccos to make Fatima extra mild, the best of all long cigarettes. Now, if you're a long cigarette smoker like I am, smoke Fatima. Every pack is extra mild,
Fatima.
On April 9th, the coroner's jury returned a verdict that the death of Harry L. Johansson was caused by a gunshot wound in the head, self-inflicted. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice for Dragnet comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, the best of all long cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet from Los Angeles.
Coming up, Duffy's Tavern. More good times on NBC.